KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
No case, only sobriety. Fox News. That's a theme in defense closing arguments at former President Trump's New York hush money trial. Attorney Todd Blanche telling the jury prosecutors have not met the burden of proof.
Jurors have been hearing Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's case be torn apart piece by piece. Blanche zeroing in on star witness Michael Cohen, telling the jurors that they cannot believe anything that comes out of his mouth, that Cohen is an admitted liar and convicted felon.
Fox's Eric Shawn at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. As for all the checks to Cohen signed by the then president.
The invoices and ledger entries that prosecutors say were the falsified business records. Well, Blanche said it did make sense for Trump to pay Cohen because Cohen was doing legal work for the president and his family when he moved to the White House. Blanche said Trump wasn't hiding anything.
Prosecutors are expected to make their closing arguments after a lunch break. President Biden's campaign holding a news conference near the courthouse with some of the first responders from the Capitol riot and actor Robert De Niro calling the former president a tyrant.
He doesn't get blood on his hands. No, he doesn't. He directs the mob to do his dirty work for him.
The Trump campaign's senior advisor Jason Miller firing back that the criminal case against him is all politics.
If you don't think this is politics, then why do the Democrats wheel out a retread like Robert De Niro to try to change the subject?
A top advisor to the Biden campaign says they were there because of the large media presence, not to talk about the trial. A former FTX executive just sentenced to 7.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to making tens of millions of dollars in unlawful campaign contributions. Ryan Salome was a top lieutenant to the founder of the failed cryptocurrency exchange, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's already in prison for fraud. Also just getting reports that aid deliveries are temporarily suspended at the U.S.-built pier along the Gaza coast because of damage from rough seas. America is listening to Fox News.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A near-perfect afternoon of weather across St. Louis. Sunshine in control, low humidity, dry, no storms. Though a little breezy, 79. Tonight, clear and cool. I'll drop through the 70s for any evening plans. A cool 55 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny and nice, 77. Do that again on Thursday, sunny and about 78. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you're planning a graduation party, let Grill Master Tony do the cooking. Mark Cox here can make his delicious brisket, his pulled pork or pulled chicken with all the sides. They'll make 10 people as important as 100. Plus, he does corporate lunches. Let Tony bring the grill to you. Hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, cookies, or you can customize it with their delicious brisket and delicious sides. Visit them and order today online at grillmastertony.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course.
So Robert De Niro is the Biden chess move response to, well, we put Donald Trump in court and this just doesn't seem to be going the way that we intended. What should we do? I know. Let's get Robert De Niro. And then the old man trots himself out there. What better way to shine a positive reflection on the current 81-year-old in chief by getting another 80-year-old out there to be the get off my lawn guy against Donald Trump. And that's the only really clip of the Robert De Niro experience that we could play for you, because the rest of them will require so much editing by Brad that you're at some point going, you can't even tell what's going on here.
It'll just be the censoring sounds.
It was New York.
Yeah, and it was very New York.
Given the, hey, how are you?
Yeah, I heard a bunch of clowns, bums,
from
trash.
De Niro or from...
Yes, from both sides.
Yeah. They were speaking New York.
Yeah, they were talking to one another in a language I don't speak.
Yes, that Midwestern nice or Southern bless your heart. It was some of that, only straight to the point. And Robert De Niro is basically in New York City to remind New Yorkers that Donald Trump is a dangerous, dangerous clown. He's a clown. And I think that what Robert De Niro said in this clip is so important to listen to, because he lists all the things they're willing to tolerate in New York City. Did you hear that? He's like, we tolerate people doing crazy things on the street. Yeah, there's violent crime and recidivism taking place on the streets of New York City every single day. But you're like, no, but not you, Donald Trump. Yes, the man with his name still on Trump Tower in New York City, the man who helped build New York City. Robert De Niro is there to make sure everybody, because when he walks in front of the mic, the world stops spinning and stops and listens. What were the lines from that one guy that you wanted to pull? And I'm like, I don't know. It was, your mic's not on.
He said, you're trash, you're bum, your movies suck, you're trash.
What a time to be alive. I mean, this is all to say that Donald Trump is once again in trial today. They have resumed. They have begun closing arguments, and in state trials in New York, the defense goes first, the prosecution goes second, and the defense has made their closing argument, and from what I understand, is complete. And so they are now on a break until 1 o'clock our time, 2 p.m. Eastern, for lunch, and maybe it's possible that we'll hear something from Trump in and out of the courtroom. He did say this morning. It sounds a lot like other things he said.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Make no mistake about it. I'm here because of crooked Joe Biden. The worst president in the history of our country is destroying our country. This country is being destroyed rapidly, not slowly, rapidly. On the borders, on energy, on inflation, on everything you can name. Afghanistan removal, everything about what he's done. He's destroying our country. And he's also destroying it with weaponization. And this is purely his weaponization.
So he does what he does there, and he's talking about how this comes back to Joe Biden, how it's election interference. It's hard to disagree with him. In my opinion, I've talked to many people, and there are, I don't, in my real life, with people who I actually know and care about, and I know care about me, I haven't heard of a single person who's like, Trump gets what he deserves here on the basis of this trial. They might hate him for whatever particular reasons, but they know that this trial is a sham.
But this is all election hunting, election interfering. It's going after Joe Biden's political opponent because he can't do it himself. And they're helping out. And we have a judge who's highly conflicted. He happens to be corrupt. It's the worst confliction. It's the worst that anybody's seen. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
So the question we have for you today on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, we have got a poll up there on the live broadcast and the live chat portion. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Is it going to increase support, decrease support, or provide no effect? There is a CBS News article, and the headline, it's by Graham Cates, and it says, "What happens if Trump is convicted in New York? No one can really say." There is a possibility, and we could know by the end of the week what this verdict is. There is a possibility that Donald Trump is found guilty here. And I think that everybody from the outside looking in is going, there's no way he's going to be found guilty just because of the lack of success that the prosecution has in even identifying the crime, let alone proving the crime occurred. But we're not on the outside looking in. There is a Manhattan jury, not a favorable place for Donald Trump. It's the jury has 2 lawyers on it. People are suggesting that due to the complete and total flimsiness of the case that was made by the prosecution, that should make some difference. So the CBS article is still posing the question, and you got to get this out here now while it's still a possibility. Although I do think it is within the realm of possibility that he will be found guilty. CBS says when the judge overseeing Donald Trump's criminal trial found on May 6th that Trump had violated a gag order for a 10th time, he told him that, quote, "The last thing I want to do is put you in jail." You got to ask yourself, at what length will this particular judge go to in order to get Trump? Do you believe that this judge is on this case to get Trump? I think there are a lot of pieces of evidence that could be laid out that definitely show that he has an incredible bias going into this case and that he has acted on that bias many times in a way that is very punitive to the Trump side and very lenient towards the prosecution. I think we've seen that over and over and over again. Mershon had said, "You are the former president of the United States and possibly the next president." He said he basically was saying, like, I can put you in jail, but I don't want to. It's like what as a parent, it's like what you say to your kid when you're like, it's going to be more complicated in this situation if I ground you from your car. Because then I have to, if you have to go places, then I have to take you. I don't want to ground you from your car, but you're pushing me to the place where I need you to know that I can do it. It's kind of dangling that over President Trump. And again, reflecting on the unfairness of Judge Mershon's rules that he has had on who can say what and when, Trump basically just said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And this has been the way that he has campaigned for the majority of the last, what would it be, 4 or 5 weeks that this trial has been going on?
Yeah, something like that.
I think May.
Yeah, for the whole month of May at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even into April, the end of April.
CBS News says what exactly would happen if the jury finds Trump guilty is difficult to predict. Trump is being tried in New York State Court, where judges have broad authority to determine when sentences are handed down after convictions and what exactly they will be, according to former Manhattan prosecutor Duncan Levin. That differs from federal court, where there's typically a waiting period between a conviction and a sentencing. Quote, it's much more informally done in state court. I've had cases where the jury comes back and says guilty, and the judge thanks the jury, excuses them, and says, let's sentence the defendant right now. Can you imagine? Obviously, everything's a little different about this case than the typical case, according to Levin there. So in the trial that Donald Trump is facing, there are 34 felony falsification of business record charges. That's what he's actually facing in this trial. The 34 felony falsification, it's essentially one crime that was committed in 34 different places based on how I understand this. And we're going to talk to Kash Patel at 1:25 and get his up-to-date reaction to where we are in this trial. 34 falsification of business record charges. Each one of those charges carries a sentence of up to 4 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. So 34 times 4, 120, 136. That's a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have that many.
No.
Would you? Maybe you serve them concurrently, whatever. If Trump is found guilty, according to CBS, Merchan would have fairly wide leeway in determining a punishment, including sentencing Trump to probation or house arrest. Levin said the option of confining Trump to his home, followed by a period on probation, might be appealing to Merchan, who has repeatedly indicated he's concerned about limiting a presidential candidate's ability to speak freely. I said this was CBS News. Leave me alone.
I don't know if y'all could hear my look.
I could hear your look from here. I wasn't even looking at you, and I'm like, all right, Brad, I know.
We don't want to hinder his ability to speak freely, so we're going to confine him to his home.
CBS News says such an option would allow Trump to do interviews and access social media from his home. Maybe that's how he doesn't do the debates.
How he doesn't do the debates, or how Biden gets out of the debates?
Yep.
There you go.
He's on house arrest. Do the debates, like zoom in.
Zoom the debates.
He should be in like a Hawaiian shirt with a Mai Tai and be like, let's go.
Yeah, by the pool.
Cut my mic. Yeah. Just like with stacks of documents behind him. Oh.
The big red unclassified stamped on him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I really am very confident in a hung jury. And I think that a hung jury is the best case scenario for both sides. The YouTube live chat poll for today, how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Some of you guys have weighed in on this already on the Annie Fry YouTube comment sections. And Kurt said, I mean, how many people could be sitting on the edge of their seat thinking, I'm only going to support Trump if he gets convicted? I can't imagine those people. Well, no, it's not that. With Kurt's comment there, that insinuates that people are sitting on the edge of their seat, paying attention, waiting to make a decision. Who this affects are people who haven't been paying attention.
Right.
This is, and we're seeing a lot of this. Go look at the rally in the Bronx. Look at how many of those people were like, they're coming after him because they want to come after us, or they understood something about the overzealous prosecution of Donald Trump, in their words, that it resonates with them. You have to think, like, if you've got a body of people, if you have, let's just say there are 100 people who vote, and right now, 40 of them will actually show up to do it or something like that? I don't know how many people show up in an actual presidential election. I think it's less than half.
It's way less than half.
In a presidential election.
Yeah.
You get like a non-presidential election, it's like 6%.
Yeah, because last year was like, our 2020 was one of the largest ones in history, if not the largest voter turnout in history. And I think if you added them together, you were less than 160,000. There's 160 million, and there's less than There's like 330 million
About
people.
About 2/3 of the voting eligible population turned out in 2020, the highest rate for any national election. So that's pretty high. That's according to Pew Research Center. So I think that if you that's a 2020 presidential election, COVID, new voting rules, lots of paper ballot or mail-in ballots or whatever, which is what it is. You know, that's how many of those ballots were legitimate. That's not the question that I'm asking here. It's a matter of you changed the laws. We made it entirely different to vote, and a lot more votes came in. With that being said, if you've got 100 people voting, okay, let's use those numbers. Let's say 60 out of the 100 are going to vote. Right now, those 60 are split 35-25 for Trump, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You've still got 40 people out there who can be persuaded, and if the difference there is 10, you don't need to persuade a whole lot of those people to sway the election.
No.
So you get some people who are paying attention for the first time. Donald Trump continues to push in the direction of getting those the attention of people in the non-usual places to have a campaign speech, a libertarian convention. We'll get to that. I mean, it could make a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think every vote counts in this election coming up, just like every other election. But the biggest thing the Republicans need to do is be on the ball on yesterday.
Yeah. And one of the things I look at, because we're talking about people that are kind of paying attention, aren't really paying attention. When they start paying attention, where are they hearing the information from about this case? Because whenever I look at this case and the different experts we've talked to, DA Bragg has been very cagey about what the charges are.
Yeah.
To actually get it to felony, to make the statute of limitations work, they needed to add on this with intent to commit a crime. DA Bragg has never actually defined what that crime Donald Trump intended to commit was by doing the books thing.
And it seems as though what has come out in the trial separates Donald Trump from the actual action of the crime even more.
It really does. But if people are getting their information from an MSNBC or a CNN, are they getting the full thing? Are they getting, because they just don't have, this isn't televised like the Fonnie Willis thing. People can't go back and watch the testimony themselves. They can read the transcripts, but nobody's going to go back and do that.
Even the nerds are not reading transcripts. They're not getting, newbies are not going to MSNBC to check out what's going on. It is too hostile and angry over there.
Yeah.
Fox News is, if you're a newbie, you might come across Fox News or CNN based on, I should turn on the news, and one of those comes on.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably getting your information from TikTok.
Yeah. And that's not a great spot to be getting your information from on this situation.
On any situation.
Yeah.
Let's not be too narrow.
But the other thing, too, and I don't know if you've run across this, but anytime I ever talk to anybody about the case, nobody can give me a straight answer on what's actually going on. They want to talk about, because they've done a really great job of muddying the waters on the accusations. Like, well, it's hush money. Well, it's like, that's a non-disclosure agreement, and that's not a crime. That's legal. That's 100% legal. And they're like, well, he cooked the books. And it's like, well, no, he reported it as a legal fee, which he had a lawyer, albeit a shady lawyer, and Michael Cohen.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Shady. Enter into a contract, a legally binding contract with Stormy Daniels not to talk about whatever happened or to even say that anything happened, because we still don't even know that something happened.
Didn't it all happen after the election?
That I don't know.
I think that the actual bookkeeping, like if you're going to pinpoint the bookkeeping, which is the crime,
right? The bookkeeping with the crime. So what if that happened after the election?
Then it's not an election fraud.
It's not
scenario.
It's not.
Gosh, you guys lost the election. Get over it. Stop denying the election from 8 years ago.
But that's
stop.
But this is my point. They muddy the waters up to where the normies, I use that term to describe somebody that's just new coming in, they're not steeped in it like you or I are, and they just don't know what information is good and what information is bad.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate that that's where we're at, because those are the people that are going to end up deciding this election.
One last comment before we go to break, and if you'd like to join us and react and vote, you can vote in the live chat portion of the live broadcast on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and also you can comment there if you so choose. Von Don says, by the end of the week, he will be a humiliated and convicted felon. It will be a corrosive time for his millions of supporters. Yeah, just don't forget the millions part. Let us know what you think. Annie Fry YouTube channel, go vote. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Do you think he's going to be found guilty? What's your prediction? Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll continue to feature your thoughts throughout the course of the show. Jim Carafano is with us at 1:05, and Kash Patel, former Department of Defense Chief of Staff and former Deputy Director of National Intelligence. Kash Patel with us at 1:25. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care.
I want to talk to you about Window World and how they can help you make sure your home is efficient. All that energy you're paying to heat, all that energy you're paying to cool, and the air in your home seeping out of those leaky, worn down builder-grade windows, it's time to replace them. And you want to go make a good decision. You want to make a good investment. And Window World knows that. And Window World understands that everything costs more right now. And what they're trying to do is stay honest and true to who they are and do what they can to make sure that your experience working with Window World, these people from right here in St. Louis, they're going to offer you 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. This is a fantastic option to get the windows replacement all around the home that you've been wanting to do for quite some time. Now is the time to call Window World and get that 36 months, same as cash financing. You give them a ring at 314-993-1800. Tell them Annie sent you. 314-993-1800 from the Annie Fry Show. And talk to them about window replacements for your home. They have lifetime warranties covering all parts, glass breakage, and labor. That is an addition that a lot of places don't cover. And they do have quality windows at affordable prices. They are simply the best for less. And you mentioned Annie. When you call 314-993-1800, you'll be glad you did. You can find them online at windowworld.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
All right, summer's just right around the corner, so it's still not too late at all to be proactive on your air conditioning system. One, to make sure it's ready to go, and two, if you were thinking about replacing your system last year or the year before, still good time, good pricing, 0% on the equipment without the price increase yet that's coming here, taking an effect. So if you're like to be proactive, call me. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. That number is 314-293-2600. Again, very easy. Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or the website, bartinman.com. Now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA-MCO.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Del's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
June 27th, Donald Trump debates Joe Biden, and you can only hear it here on 97.1 FM Talk. But you're also invited to the party. We'll all be at Dave & Buster's, so join us June 27th for the debate and visit 971talk.com/events. listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Touching you, touching me, touching you, got to touch you.
Never forget, America is the strongest when we lead not only by our example of our power, but by the power of our example. You can clap for that.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. At least he's not a clown.
Yeah.
Whose support has Joe Biden gained? Who in this amount of time? 81 million votes, right?
Yeah.
Of those 81 million votes, the most votes a United States president has ever earned, 81 million votes. In second place is Donald Trump in the same election.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is the highest vote getter incumbent in the history of presidential elections. Who of those, how does he get 82 million?
I don't think he does. I'm trying to think of like what would this voter look like that Joe Biden earns, that picks up?
Like a clown.
Yeah. I don't know that there's anybody out there that voted for Trump last time around that went, you know what? Joe Biden was right. Things are better.
The point is, because they're not better, is to put Donald Trump in court and make him seem as though he's incorrigible. Make him seem as though honestly, it's what Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley campaigned on. And I say this as somebody who is a big supporter of Ron DeSantis. I hopelessly want him to be on the ticket. I get it. Leave me alone. I can have dreams, and you cannot crush them unless I allow you to, and I won't do it. But the idea that chaos follows Donald Trump, there's truth to that. But the idea that chaos follows Donald Trump, that doesn't mean that he deserves it. That doesn't mean that the chaos, if you can manufacture chaos, and boy, can they manufacture chaos. If you can do it around Donald Trump, why can't you do it around Ron DeSantis? Why couldn't they do it around Nikki Haley? I'm pretty certain that they would, because that's how they retain power. And anything that they do, as long as they have the end result that they want, it justifies everything they'll do to get there. But when you listen, where's the clip of Joe Biden that I can play and then everyone's like, that's my Joe Biden. That's my president. I don't know that clip exists.
No, even his quote unquote best moments are like, he didn't fail as hard as we thought he would.
His State of the Union, where they're like, he did the whole speech. And you're like, okay.
With energy.
All right. Yeah, energy. I'll have what he's having, especially today. You can't look at this guy and go, he's gaining support. You can look at the polls, and I hate polls, and polls are polls, whatever. Polls are out there meant to influence people. I hesitated, and I passed on the opportunity to ask you today if Joe Biden's still going to be the guy on the ticket, because I don't think he is. And I've said that the whole time, and every time we've had a poll, I've said Joe Biden's not going to be on the ticket. I believe it more today than I've ever believed it before. And I know that we're close. We're getting closer and closer to Election Day. Obviously, the convention makes a big difference. 161 days until Election Day. This guy, I literally asked one of my Democrat friends yesterday, you voting for Biden? And the response was something to the effect of, if he makes it. And I was like, what? And I go, are you a Kamala supporter? And then the response was hard no.
Hard no.
And I was like, I don't get it.
I was like, you realize if he does make it.
You're the one who brought up to me that you're going to vote for Joe Biden if he's alive to be on the ballot. And Kamala's a hard no. I give him credit because at the end of it, he's like, in his mind, all the options suck. But Donald Trump is still Donald Trump. And you still got to do, that's still the supreme factor for someone who, like him, great guy, love him to death, disagree politically with him, mostly top. Actually, we agree on a lot more when he lets me make the points that I want to make to say, I think we're actually on the same page here. But the idea that Joe Biden is gaining support, even the votes that Joe Biden still might have, they're only anti-Trump votes. Nobody's like, this is my guy. This is my president. Nobody. And you're just terrified of Orange Man Bad, Robert De Niro calling him a clown. I mean, like, somebody in New York City looked like a clown today. It was not Donald Trump.
This guy got up there in some of the parts of the speech that we couldn't air because of the language, because of the New Yorkness of it. He gets up there and he's like, if he gets elected, he's not leaving. He's not leaving. He's not going anywhere.
He left listen, folks. Listen here, right now, Bill Maher. Because he and Gutfeld, when they had their show the other day, I watched some of that, and I thought Gutfeld was, like, he was coming out of his chair. And I'm like, ooh, let Bill Maher tie his own rope. You don't have to do this for him. Bill Maher's big thing is Donald Trump is an insurrectionist. He would not leave office. And Gutfeld's like, but he left office. and I mean, like, he did. He left office. Everything that he wanted Mike Pence to do or wanted Congress to do, they were going to do until the protesters were let into the building and threw the whole thing upside down. I mean, I know that people want to manufacture this idea that somehow or another this insurrection was the brainchild concoction of Donald Trump, who did offer the National Guard and was turned down by it, somehow or another wanted to manufacture this siege on the Capitol, which is the only thing that kept us from testing the constitutional limits on verifying or certifying elections. I very much so believe that they would have gone through the process of trying to not certify the election, and it still would have been certified. I think it would have taken a long time. I think it would have been exciting for nerds to watch, incredibly frustrating for the rest of America to watch, and Joe Biden would still be the president. But the fact that people did go into the Capitol threw a wrench in the entire thing and stopped the process that is completely within the bounds of constitutional challenge. Good grief. Look at the nonsense that this left, the Democrat controlling Congress wants to throw out there. I mean, listen, it's really no different than Joe Biden trying to unilaterally forgive student loans with the stroke of a pen, which he does not have the authority to do. Ask the Supreme Court. He's challenging his authority that is limited by the Constitution of the United States. And as a republic, the Constitution is the supreme ruling document that exists to keep us in the boundaries, and by us, the government, in the boundaries, so that it cannot supersede its ability to control and regulate you. That's where the Constitution comes in, and it should come in every opportunity that we get to ask the question. Limiting government. That's what the Constitution stands. And the Democratic Republic part of it is that we send people to represent us while serving out of respect and under the surveillance of that Constitution. And there are elements of the Constitution that allow you to question elections, and Democrats have done it time and time and time again. The idea of certifying electors or whatever, that's been done before. This is not a new concept. The insurrection that happened actually stopped the whole process. I find that an interesting detail in the whole process of what we cannot yet get factual information from.
Right. And make no mistake, there is a constitutional process for this. And it requires, because I remember in 2016 when they were, or I guess it would have been 2017, when they were certifying Donald Trump's election, there was Maxine Waters with her paper and her objection. Is there not a senator who will join me on this? If you have a House of Representative member joined by a senator that has an objection to the certification of the vote, then they have to accept that and then go into committee and they discuss what they're going to do from there. Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz were ready to partner with a member or several members of the House on objecting to the certification of this election, and then they would have gone into committee
Maybe
and solved it
Maxine
from there.
Waters would have been up for it this time.
But that's my whole thing. Everything was going to happen the way it was supposed to happen according to the Constitution. And then, to your point at the very beginning of this, when none of that happened, what did Donald Trump do? He left office. He didn't stay in office.
He left office.
He left office. And people are like, yeah, but he's called the election illegitimate and blah, blah, blah. He
Just
said
like
it was
the
stolen.
Democrats have
And it's
over
like,
and
yeah.
over and over
Bill
again.
Maher went on with Megyn Kelly later on and tried making the same point, and Megyn Kelly picked him apart like cotton candy. She goes, how is this different than what Hillary Clinton did? He's like, Hillary Clinton didn't do that. And she played the audio of Hillary Clinton calling him an illegitimate president.
Megyn Kelly says to Bill Maher, because Bill Maher was saying that Trump was calling it an illegitimate election. And like you said, Megyn Kelly goes, how is this any different than Hillary Clinton saying that Donald Trump is an illegitimate president? And Bill Maher goes, he never said that. Or they never said that. She never said that. And Megyn Kelly's like, yeah, he did. Yeah, she did. And he goes, she never called him an illegitimate president. Roll the tape. Illegitimate president. That's what it's Hillary Clinton's words. Listen, I won't speak for Brad, but I'm not walking us around this January 6th moment in time to make it feel warm and fuzzy and good. It's not. None of it is good. In fact, it's been horrendous for the country for 3.5 years. I wish the American people would have gotten it right. I wish whatever questions that I have developed increasingly so in the absence of our ability to even talk about it, unless you are a sworn allegiant to the idea that this was a deadly it was deadly, but we'll talk about that later. Insurrection, unless you've completely given yourself over to this idea, you're not even allowed to speak about it or ask questions about it. Well, good grief. That makes me want to ask a lot more questions about it. It is without question that the entrance of the Capitol and the actions that took place that day hindered Donald Trump's ability to see through what he wanted to see through. That's just the facts of the matter. If it were me in charge and I could wave my wand and undo that day, I would undo that day. I remind people all of the time, do you remember what happened on January 5th? People don't remember what happened on January 5th. Georgia elected 2 Democrat senators and gave the Senate to the Democrat Party on January 5th. That's not to excuse anything that took place on January 6th, but it does explain why so many people showed up on January 6th to support Donald Trump, because they knew the direction this country was headed was not one that they wanted to be heading in. They support Donald Trump. They still support Donald Trump. They support Donald Trump no less today than they did then. And the idea that people went into the Capitol building when they were being let into the Capitol building, there were bad actors that were involved in that. I have questions about those too that haven't been able to get answers, even when people are giving testimony to Senate hearings, haven't gotten the answers about who those people were. Not all of them. There are way too many questions that surround that event for me to just willfully and patriotically hand myself over to the insurrectionist crowd so that people like Bill Maher will accept me. Forget about that. We have a whole lot at stake in 160, did I say 161 days? 161 days from right now, we have the opportunity to choose a president, and we are looking at 2 candidates right now that we know what they're going to do. We know the way they want to run things. We know what is a priority to them. One of them prioritizes the American people. The other one prioritizes the idea of incredibly bloated government. Huge government that is there around every turn to tell you how to live. And that's the Democrat Party. That's what they want. They want to control you. A vote for the Democrat Party is a vote for you to hand over your freedoms and your liberties in exchange for what is promised security that will never be enough to actually make you safe and secure in this country. Don't believe me? Look at the southern border. They don't care. It is more important for them to import votes across the southern border than it is to secure you and your family in your home. to make sure our country is safe. I mean, the choice is incredibly clear, which is why I don't think Joe Biden will be on the ticket. I'm just saying. I don't believe it for a second. And if they put Michelle Obama on there, whole new ballgame, folks. I hope it's Gavin Newsom. Or, even better, J.B. Pritzker, then he loses, and then what?
Oh, he's out of a job, isn't he? Does he have to resign as governor?
Oh, no. He's probably our king now. I don't know for sure.
He's probably having them rewrite laws as we speak.
I will remind you that in the state of Illinois, the governor has no term limits. With that, we'll take a break. We have Wiggins America coming up next. Ethan is in for Ryan Wiggins, who's taking a little extended weekend vacation with his family. And we'll see how Wiggins America goes without Wiggins. Ethan in studio with us in just a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, very simple to find. 3 different locations across the St. Louis region for you to go in, shop around, see what they got, see what's going to make that whole fresh new look inside of your home. When you think about it, when you get something like new flooring, you're living your life, you go in and out of your house. Every time you park in the garage, you open the door to walk in, and you're like, oh yeah, new floors. And it's just the most exciting feeling ever because it gives your house this whole updated, modern, fresh look, fresh smell, the whole 9 yards. You've been waiting for this moment, haven't you? Well, you want to make sure that when you invest in that flooring, you're not paying more than you have to, of course, but that you're going to get the right product to achieve the look you want and the maintenance that you need. That's why you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. That's why you talk to them about their Mohawk Smart Strand carpet line. That's why you talk to them about the Techwood Plus line of beautiful hardwood flooring with very clean lines, beautiful finishes, easy to upkeep. Whatever you need in your home, Michael's Flooring Outlet can help you with that flooring option, and they're excited to talk to you. Tell them the Annie Fry Show sent you. You can visit them in-store in 3 locations across St. Louis and online at igotfloored.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
If you're thinking of selling your home, I'm sure there are 2 things you want: certainty and the most money, right? Hi, it's Mark Cox, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know the only agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first and only call when looking for an agent. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. No, she provides written guarantees. Now, what does this mean for you? Certainty. Now, certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Will it increase support? Will it decrease support? Or will it have no effect? We want to hear what you have to say. So jump on Annie's YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, and let us know. The live stream will be right there. And then leave a comment, and we might feature it on the show later on. The time right now is 12:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane. And Lenny Bruce is not afraid.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Team reporters babble Trump, Kevin Crock, look at that, no plane, fine, then,
Do you know this song?
No, I don't know this song. Never heard that before.
Ethan.
I thought for a second it was going to be It's the End of the World as We Know It. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It just
I
hasn't gotten there yet.
Well,
You just gotta
okay,
wait
I didn't
for it
know
to
it was
drop.
that long. There it is. Okay. All right. There it is. All right. All
He
right.
goes, what is this song? There's a lot of words.
There's a lot of words.
Are you ready to do this really important job on the Annie Fry Show to hit Wiggins America?
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
How did you prepare for this? I asked you to do this about 5 minutes ago.
So
Last night.
I texted Wiggins this morning. First off, I told you I'll do anything you want me to do, Annie Fry. So
Aw,
you know,
thanks, Ethan.
I'm a slave for the show or something like that. So I texted Wiggins this morning knowing that I had no idea where I was going to go with this. So I asked him for some thoughts.
He asked Ryan for advice.
Which was my first mistake.
How'd it go?
He gave me a couple of things. I wouldn't necessarily say that they were helpful, but what was I thought my biggest takeaway from our conversation was how it ended. And he finished with saying, fail upward and forward. To which I said, thanks, Dad.
It's like Ryan's here. All right, what do you got for us?
So, to stick with the theme of failing, my thought was...
Are you going to turn failure into success in Wiggins America?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
My thought was, what if we went along with something to do with failure? So I found the 6 worst excuses for failure on the good old Webernet. So we're
Okay.
going to go through a few of those.
Worst excuses for failure.
Should we start with 6 or should we start with 1?
Your choice.
I
What
don't
would
like
Ryan
this.
do? He'd
Ryan
probably
would
start with 4.
4.
All right, let's start with 4 then.
Okay. Go ahead.
Reason number 4, I didn't go to Harvard or Yale.
Oh.
I can see how this one is a powerful temptation. The exuberant arrogance offered by so many who chose to freeze to death while going to a ridiculously expensive college full of extremely large heads can be unbearable. Their body blocking in the corridors of power can seem both stifling and unreasonable. A lot of big words.
Do you feel like, I mean, we're not really plagued with working with those people.
No. Fortunately, here
Yeah.
in St. Louis, but
At least not here.
right at this place specifically in the radio business.
We all have degrees, and I think college degrees are good, but gosh, if somebody really wanted to do this, I'd almost say just go straight to the internship or be a board op and show up every chance you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. What's your degree in?
TV radio.
Oh,
mass communications.
Okay,
Why, are you
mass
shocked?
comm. Mine's broadcasting, but I did TV radio. It just sounds a little more official than mine does. So
I don't
anyway.
even think that my degree exists at SIU anymore. I think that I don't think that you can study radio the way you used to.
Interesting. Reason number 5, my mom never loved me.
Did Ryan write this?
He may have, actually.
Ryan's
This
mom
is a
loves
very
him.
Wiggins-esque article.
Pin name.
She might not have done. She also might not have been the best communicator of love. On the other hand, you might have been the most intolerable little beast since Damien from The Omen.
Oh man. Have you ever had someone who's not cutting it and they're like, "Well, my mom didn't love me."
I don't think I have. I bet Wiggins has.
Oh.
Himself.
I don't think anybody has the guts to say that to me.
His parents are wonderful.
That's a pretty deep answer to that
Yeah.
one. I mean,
that's a
you're
dramatic
asking to
leap.
almost get into an entire other conversation. So, next one, there's a reason this is number 6. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. That one drives me crazy, though. I have gotten that one before.
Give
where
us
it's
an example.
Well, it's like, why didn't that get done? Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like,
Yeah.
basically, I feel like it's like, I I could have done this, I could have done that, but I wasn't going to get it done the right way
It's like
either
the
way.
cute way of being lazy.
Exactly. That one drives me crazy.
If you're talking about failure, to me, there are a lot of reasons why people fail, and there are a lot of totally understandable, acceptable reasons that result in failure.
Sure.
Not laziness.
How about this one? Would you rule that this one is an excusable one? It was fixed.
Don't even worry about the rest of the show. Is this thing on?
Oh, man. We got about a minute left here. I'll get these last two in. Number 2, they just didn't understand what I was trying to do. Always has to be on someone else.
Yeah, that is definitely something that frustrates me. Like excuses for failure, passing the buck or the blame. Yeah, I'm not here for that. Because, again, going back to what I was saying before about the difference between trying and failing and being lazy and having the result be failure, it is never acceptable to me, for myself, I'll start with myself first, to fail because I was lazy. That grates at me.
So you're saying that this one's a little bit more excusable as long as there's effort truly being put in.
If you're blaming somebody else, I would rather you own the full blame and take ownership of it than like tell me who else needs to be included.
Well, you're gonna love the last one then.
Oh boy.
The final one on our list of the 6
This is why you start with 4.
worst excuses to failure. The whole world was against me.
No. These are just excuses for 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Have either of you ever gotten that?
Not as an excuse, but there's been times when I've been working on something and it's felt like the whole world's against me.
It's not what people say. That one is an attitude.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh gosh, yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
It's just it's no matter what. It's kind of like the woulda,
yourself.
shoulda, coulda. It was never gonna work, and it's whatever.
Yeah, and if you've determined that the world is against you, what would you not be okay with failing at? Because you have your excuse built in.
It's true.
Excuses.
There's my 6.
Everyone
Wiggins
has it.
America.
That
Hope
was-
I failed proudly,
Yeah.
Ryan.
I think it's a solid D+. Great job.
Yes!
All right, we got to speak with Jim Carafano when we come back, and Kash Patel, former Department of Defense Chief of Staff, in the 1 o'clock hour on the Andy Fry Show. We'll be right back.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you know how much money you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. These may feel like scary times. Several economists are saying that a recession is imminent. So what do you do? Ancient wisdom says plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have an actionable plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan is executed to take advantage of market gains, but protect you from market losses. We would like to give you a free, no-obligation consultation to help you do all 3. We will help you discover your magic number and give you the roadmap to get there. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108. 800-508-6108. Don't wait. Call 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
I want to talk to you about the Retirement Advisory Group. Thomas Helbig, along with Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw, want to make sure that your retirement, that transitionary period, it's an important time. If you are where I am, 40 years old, I got time, I got to save. Things are going to go up, things are going to go down. Time is on my side. When you are at that doorstep of retirement and you're thinking about the traveling you want to do or the building you want to do or the downsizing you want to do, whatever it is, you're right there and it's upon you. You need to make some smart moves. The Retirement Advisory Group specializes in those smart moves. If you reach out to them to talk to them about how they can discuss with you exactly what those moves are, you call them at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. And when you set up an appointment with them, it doesn't cost you anything, and you can leave without doing anything. No cost, no obligation, all about you and your retirement and how the Retirement Advisory Group can help you. 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's the
prosecution's turn. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. They're about to lay out their case against former President Trump one more time for the jury at his New York hush money trial after defense closing arguments that prosecutors have no case and that a key witness, former attorney Michael Cohen, can't be trusted. Donald Trump Jr. echoing that, just telling reporters,
Michael Cohen is the embodiment of reasonable doubt, and this entire case hinges on someone who has quite literally lied to every single person and body he's ever been in front of.
The Trump and Biden campaigns holding dueling press conferences outside the courthouse. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Campaign surrogates were in Lower Manhattan to make their case for each candidate, with actor Robert De Niro on the Biden side, joined by two former Capitol police officers as they sought to put the focus on the January 6th Capitol riot.
He'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
Trump campaign senior advisor Jason Miller responded, saying former President Trump is innocent of the 34 felony charges against him.
We have a highly conflicted judge with an unconstitutional gag order, and everybody sees this case for what it is.
The jury is expected to get the case tomorrow after instructions from the judge. The judge overseeing a federal classified documents case against the former president is refusing to issue a gag order. Prosecutors made the request after he publicly talked about FBI agents who searched his Florida estate being authorized to use deadly force.
The former president is guarded by armed U.S. Secret Service agents. Special prosecutor Jack Smith wanted the judge to stop the former president from discussing it publicly, saying criticism put law enforcement in danger.
Fox's Eben Brown, the judge ruling prosecutors didn't give defense lawyers enough time to discuss the issue, also warning of possible sanctions for failure to comply with court requirements in the future. America is listening to Fox News.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A near-perfect afternoon of weather across St. Louis. Sunshine in control, low humidity, dry, no storms. Though a little breezy, 79. Tonight, clear and cool. I'll drop through the 70s for any evening plans. A cool 55 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny and nice, 77. Do that again on Thursday, sunny and about 78. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All right, let's talk about Cassens. CassensSons.com is the website. I have purchased multiple vehicles, I think 3 myself, from Cassens, and I am so grateful to know people in the business of buying and selling cars that I can trust. I think that that is of the utmost importance. When my husband had the conflict with the deer and our radiator last fall, we needed to buy a car. We went to Cassens. I didn't shop around, and I did look online at some other prices for vehicles that were similar to the one that was at Cassens, and the pricing was spot on, but the service is second to none. I appreciate that when I go to Cassens, they're going to care for me. They're going to care for me past the initial purchase of the vehicle, along with service and everything that goes along with it. And they also have great opportunities for you to save on your vehicle purchases or leases right now. A 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4, 0 money down, with a $438 monthly lease, 36 months, 10,000 miles per year. Tax, title, and license not included. This is a great opportunity for you to get into one of those Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredos. We drive a Jeep. We love it. And I encourage you to check it out as well. You can call them at 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712, or find them online at CassensSons.com.
Guys, you know summer is just around the corner. Get yourself in shape now. Let my friends at Victory Men's Health help you. Mark Cox here. You know Victory is offering semaglutide, approved by the FDA for overweight adults. It's a game changer. On average, people are losing up to 15% of their body weight. Be sure and visit my friends at Victory Men's Health in Wing Haven, their newest location in Sunset Hills. They're also in Town and Country and in O'Fallon, Illinois. Go online today. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com. Well, there's a lot to celebrate this month. Graduations, the end of the school year approaching, barbecues, warm weather months ahead. Celebrate, though, in a clean home by calling my cleaning heroes and pros at Zero Res. They've been in my house I don't know how many times over the last decade. They always knock it out of the park. And that goes for the carpets and the ductwork. You know them maybe as the zero residue carpet cleaners that don't leave behind any of the dirt-attracting soaps and chemicals. Don't risk what the other guys do or don't do it yourself. Don't DIY because it's going to end up soaked for days and actually do more damage than good. So do it the right way with Zero Res. And right now, get 3 rooms of carpet, zero resified, starting at just $129. Take $50 off your air duct cleaning package. Now, you have to mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk. You can book very easily if you call 314-474-2020 or online, ZeroResSTL.com. But make sure you mention my name or the station. Zero Res. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Don't miss out on the May special with Zero Res.
June 27th, Donald Trump debates Joe Biden, and you can only hear it here on 97.1 FM Talk. But you're also invited to the party. We'll all be at Dave & Buster's, so join us June 27th for the debate and visit 971talk.com/events. The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
New developments tonight in the mysterious shooting in Carthage, North Carolina, outside a U.S. Army Special Forces residence, involving an elite U.S. soldier and 2 Chechen males who immigrated from Russia. At least one lived in Chicago, but neither name so far appear in any national databases, and I'm told both were here illegally. We've now learned that the phones collected at the scene have been taken to an Army base for analysis. To recap briefly, on Friday, May 3rd at 8:15 p.m., an Army colonel reported an altercation with a possible trespasser near his home. The individual was reportedly taking photos near the colonel's home with a telephoto lens under a power line in a wooded area. A fight ensued, shots were fired, and the alleged trespasser died.
It's Jennifer Griffin giving this report on some strange activity that involved some immigrants here, illegal immigrants, that were photographing the life of high-level people in our military, high-level operatives. Let me ask you this question. There's a circus in town in Manhattan, and because Robert De Niro was there talking about sending in the clowns this morning, that's got your attention. Of course, you've got the global stage, what's taking place in Israel and with Hamas and Gaza and Rafah. Let's not forget about the Iranian president last week dying in that helicopter mishap. Lots of things going on in the world. Remember the southern border? Remember that it's wide open? Remember that we don't even know who's here? What is going on our home turf? Let's talk to our friend Jim Carafano about it, senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, welcome back to the show.
Hey, it's great to be with you.
I appreciate it. When you heard this story, I'm just interested in your thoughts on it because it seems very sketchy. And when I listened to more of this report, it sounds like this wasn't the only instance where people have felt like they've been followed. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. Sometimes when there's smoke, there's smoke. Remember, just a while back, we had this explosion on the U.S. northern border. And for, an hour, everybody thought it was a terrorist attack, and it was just two yahoos that were trying to run the border and blew themselves up with the gasoline in their truck that exploded. So the reality is we don't know till we know. Are there other possible explanations? There's an infinite number of explanations, largely because we know nothing about these guys whatsoever. Were they criminals? Were they peeping Toms? Were they, spying for, who knows? And I think the information will come out. So, for example, they said they're looking at the phone. So that'll tell them a lot about who they were calling, who they were talking to, who they're associated with. They'll also get more information as this unfolds. So I would say two things. One is we did not need this incident to tell us that we are vulnerable to kidnapping government and military officials, terrorist attacks, taking hostages, another 9/11. We don't need that because we know that that's true. We are less safe today from a foreign terrorist attack than we were on 9/11. And it's from the twin dangers of the wide open borders that Biden has created, which create the best avenue for an attack vector into the United States, and the fact that he has the Justice Department, the FBI, and Homeland Security focusing on all kinds of wacky stuff except protecting the American people. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people in these agencies that are working hard trying to do that. But the direction from the White House is climate change, gender diversity, DEI, helping open the borders, all that stuff. So this is just, we're going to go through this this is going to be Tuesday. Every day we're going to have, what the heck was this person doing here? What the heck was this illegal alien doing there? Why was an illegal alien who's been convicted of rape and child molesting being sent into the United States by the U.S. government? We're going to have this conversation every day until we have a Sandy Hook or a 9/11 or something else. And by the way, the response from Joe Biden will be, it's not his fault.
Yeah. And that'll be enough for him and for the party to pass the buck and Pontius Pilate it on to somebody else. Jim Carafano with us right now. I believe I heard the president, President Trump, saying that he was going to work with local law enforcement to help deport people in whatever way that is manageable. I mean, it's going to be an enormous task to clean up the mess that Joe Biden has made.
There's actually a thing on the books called 287G. It's a section in U.S. law which basically creates the framework for state and local governments who want to, on a voluntary basis, to work with the United States to identify illegal aliens who've committed crimes and are subject to deportation or subject to deportation. It's a well-established program. It was utilized under George Bush. Trump actually used it extensively. And this is a trick question. What did Obama and Biden do? They immediately abolished all the agreements. So even state and local governments that wanted to cooperate with the United States, the U.S. government actually made it harder for them to do that.
When I hear, I can think back to when Illinois, which is the state, I live across the river here in St. Louis, I live in Illinois, and I remember when we decided to be a sanctuary state, which was ironically under Governor Bruce Rauner, who was a Republican of sorts, at least an Illinois Republican, who decided to do this very political move. Right. There wasn't nearly as much consequence to that in the mid-2010s as there is right now. Is this all connected?
Everybody wants to be a sanctuary when you don't actually have to provide any sanctuary.
It's good politics.
It sounds great. It's like inviting your relatives over, knowing they won't come.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you get credit for the ask and the offer, and you don't have to make the payout. Do those political moves 10 years ago, are those directly connected to what we're doing right now?
No, those were all done in expectation that nobody would ever be stupid enough to actually open up the border and let all these people in. And here's the thing is I think what we're going to find is when we actually play out the legality of this, and, I have to be honest. So, 10 years ago, if you'd asked me this and you said sanctuary cities, look, I'm a belief in federalism, state and local government autonomy. They should make their own decisions. If they don't want to cooperate with the U.S. government on something that's a federal responsibility, that's their business. But two things. One is there's a difference between not cooperating with the U.S. government and actually trying to prevent the U.S. government from doing its job. That's a problem. The other is what we have very clearly seen is sanctuary cities have created unsafe environments that attract crime and violence. And so essentially what you're doing is, I think you are robbing people of their civil liberties because you're putting their freedom and their life at risk. So just like saying, well, you can't have apartheid in your town because that is depriving citizens of civil liberties. You can't write a local law that says black and whites have to be, segregated. I think that eventually the law will come around and say creating a sanctuary city is a violation of an American civil liberties and is not constitutional. That's my thinking.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation, an expert on foreign policy and national security issues. You've said since the day that Joe Biden was sworn into office that in 2024, November of 2024, that the border would be the top issue for voters when they went to cast their ballot. Do you still feel like that is the case? I mean, of course, it's among the top issues. Do you still feel like it is tops?
Yeah, I do believe it's a top issue. And I also said on your show, literally almost like the day after the election, that by the end of Biden's term, there would be millions of illegal aliens in the United States. And the illegal population would be almost double. And I was right.
Yeah, I can't imagine the task that will be ahead for someone to come in and clean up this mess. But you're talking about, for instance, the local law enforcement. Like the apparatus, the structure, the system is there. You just got to choose to use it. Do you feel like it's a quicker fix than most people would think?
I do. And also I think is people underestimate the number of illegal aliens that will self-deport. In other words, once the environment becomes unfriendly for them to be here, and this is not, the free lunch that they thought it was going to be, and then they actually might wind up wind up themselves, because if you really want to deport people, you have to detain them. You just can't say show up for deportation because nobody does. So if people are looking like, oh my God, I could wind up in detention for somewhere between 6 months and a year, I'm just going to go home.
Right.
And so the number of people that will vote with their feet and leave this country will solve a lot of the problem. And the thing is you cannot just say, well, we're just going to deport, violent criminal aliens. That everybody says that. That's not good enough. It's just like, I'm only going to give speeding tickets to criminals. That doesn't work that way. You give everybody a speeding ticket because then everybody knows that the force of law is in place. And that's what we have to do here. We have to deport people, with children, women, families. We have to just put them on trains and planes and send them home. Because if we don't do that, we're not going to send the signal that we're serious about enforcing our laws. And you know what? Donald Trump will do that. And people say, oh, my God, that's going to cost money. You know what? It'll cost a fraction. Pick a number. You make up any number you want. It's not going to cost near as much to deport them as it would to just let them stay here and encourage more illegal immigration in the United States. This will be a bargain basement policy.
The reaction to the current situation needs to involve a lot of deterrence for the problem to continue to grow while we're trying to send people back, for sure. I wanted to ask you before we let you go, Jim Carafano with us right now. We spoke a little bit last week about the death of the Iranian president and kind of his role in the government structure, the decision-making properties of Iran. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that situation with the Iranian president's death, but also Iran and how they are still going to be able to, if you assume that they are, manipulate what's going on in the Middle East.
Well, look, I think if anything, this is going to clear the decks for the selection of the next candidate, which means that the regime might even be stronger and more determined than we might have hoped. So rather than essentially creating chaos, what it might actually have done is clear the field a bit to rapidly pick the next Ayatollah and move forward. And it's never going to be a moderate. It's not going to be somebody that's gentler. So the reality is if we don't have a new administration that walks in the door and completely flips Iran policy, forget about the dumpster fire. If you think about it, a dumpster fire is something burning that, who cares? It's a dumpster. There's nothing in but trash. This is like the Chicago fire. we're going to burn down the world if we don't turn this policy around.
Well, we will be watching to see what happens, of course. 161 days until Election Day, very consequential Election Day. And you've been pointing that out from day one of this current term. Jim Carafano, thanks for being with us. We always appreciate you.
All right, Fred. See ya.
Bye-bye. He is the senior counselor to the president at Heritage Foundation and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement. Quite a nice title that Jim Carafano has there. Always grateful that he gives us his time each week here on Tuesdays. We're going to take a quick break. Kash Patel is going to be with us when we come back. Excited to talk to Kash once again. He's the former Department of Defense Chief of Staff, former Deputy Director of National Intelligence. We're going to talk to him about the Trump trials. We're going to talk to him about the Biden candidacy. We're going to talk to him about what happens next with Donald Trump. Kash Patel when we come back.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Now, darling.
Jen Teskey, she's a realtor. She's the best realtor with the best team, and she's with RE/MAX Alliance. Jen knows how to get the job done. Listing your house right now, really smart move. If you want to get in the market, it is just a white hot, fiery market right now, and Jen can help navigate all of that for you when you call her at 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010. JenTeskeyHomes.com, Teske, JenTeskeyHomes.com. Working with Jen makes your realty experience a breeze, which it's kind of a stressful situation to go through buying and selling a home. I've done it multiple times. And when you have somebody with Jen's experience, expertise, and staff to make sure that everything about your home is positioned exactly right for a great sale, Jen Teskey is there to walk you through the whole process. I also want to mention that she has a certification in divorce real estate. It's a special certification. Not a lot of realtors have it, but if you're going through a divorce, if you know someone who's going through a divorce and they need that person to help navigate the sale of the house or the management of the property, and what happens next, Jen Teskey is your girl. 618-541-1010, JenTeskeyHomes.com.
You know, I don't know what is going on here, but I was recently attacked servicing an air conditioner by two cicadas. Definitely planned. It had to be planned. One flew right into my mouth, and when I spit that horrible thing out, one came crashing into the back of my head. But I'm just telling you, cicadas don't taste good. They're gross. Something has to be done. So everybody be careful out there with the cicadas. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be careful with the cicadas. I know there was at least one planned attack on me by two. But again, this is about air conditioning. So if you do need service on your air conditioner this summer, what works really good, I found, for me and my customers, is if you just save this number, my name and the number in your phone. That is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, and you can see some videos, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure. Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the
We have a rigged court case that should have never been brought, and it should have been brought in another jurisdiction. As you know, we asked for that, and the judge never allows us anything. And just to end, we had an election expert who was going to say everything was perfect, where the FEC did nothing, it was fine. And we had a lot of other people. I could give you a list of 40 people that would say the exact same thing as these people said. So thank you all very much. We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
This is a very dangerous day for America. It's a very sad day. Thank you.
See how it goes, says President Trump. That was this morning before he went into court for the closing arguments. The defense has given their closing arguments. Currently, the prosecution is doing that. The judge has asked the jury, hey, would you stay late today? Maybe an hour or so, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we wait and we see what happens next. I'm going to go to our next guest. Excited to have Kash Patel back on the Annie Fry Show, former Department of Defense Chief of Staff and former Deputy Director of National Intelligence. Kash, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me back on the show.
Of course. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk to you. We saw the Democrat Biden response today was to get the other 80-year-old crabby guy out and to, scream at the sky and call people names. It is very Biden-esque of him, the way he's handling the situation, Robert De Niro in New York City. And it's as if the clown show that they put in court wasn't enough. They had to take it to the streets. What do you make of the decision for Robert De Niro to come address New Yorkers about Donald Trump today?
Well, that should show you the despair of the Biden administration, and it should show you the central locus for the entire baseless prosecution of Donald Trump has always been Joe Biden's White House. And when he says he has kept his distance and has not participated, we've shown over and over again that Joe Biden's White House has put their finger on all of Donald Trump's prosecutions, has allowed all these prosecutors to meet with his lawyers in the White House and then giving them direction and evidentiary information to prosecute Donald Trump. It is the epicenter of election rigging by a two-tier system of justice. And when you roll out Robert De Niro, they know, the Biden administration knows they're losing in court. So now they're trying to win in the court of public opinion, and they just might go for two.
When we were talking about the Biden or Joe Biden putting his finger on the scale or the office, I'm not sure that he has any idea where his fingers are at any given time. But the people who are running the White House right now, whomever they might be, what are you alleging or what do we know about coordination that has existed in the Get Trump lawfare that we've seen Donald Trump go through in the last year?
Well, I don't have to allege anything. I'm just relying on the records that the White House was forced to turn over that show the Georgia prosecutors, the lovebirds, who financially benefited unlawfully and unethically from bringing this prosecution and lying to the judge about it, met with prosecutors and met with counsel for the vice president in her office for 6 straight hours the week before the indictment. We know that the prosecutors in Alvin Bragg's office have been down to Washington, D.C. What are they going down there for? These are 2 state district attorneys' offices who have no relationship or loyalty to the Department of Justice. Why are they involved at all? And how much information, and this one we haven't gotten, has the Joe Biden White House directive be given from government agencies and departments to these state prosecuting authorities. They also airmailed in the number 3 DOJ prosecutor, Michael Colangelo, and dropped him into New York to literally be the prosecutor against Donald Trump. It is literally coordinated attack of rigging an election by the Biden White House.
Let's get in the way forward machine. Donald Trump gets elected in November, God willing, hand of God. And he has the opportunity to do some weeding in the swamp. And he's got to go in and he's got to fix this so that it doesn't happen to the next person who is politically misaligned with the bureaucracy that is in place. How's that work?
Well, I think you're going to see some monumental decisions from the Supreme Court this summer on presidential privilege. I think they're going to get it right that every president has it, including Donald Trump, and Joe Biden unlawfully eviscerated that privilege so that DOJ could basically bring him out another political prosecution. And what you see now is Americans are educated in that two-tier system of justice exists in America. The constitutional due process is selective. And if you're a Republican or a Trump supporter, it does not apply to you. And what Joe Biden's administration and the deep state and the government have said, and the leaders in the swamp have said, we're coming after you because we know that Donald Trump is exposing our corrupt activities, our unlawful activities, and he's taking away our fame, our headlines, and our pot of gold at the end of our government career services rainbow. And it's not a Republican or Democratic thing. So I think President Trump did a brilliant job exposing it, but I also know, I was with the president just this past weekend in D.C. and last week in court all day with him. He knows about the personnel. He gets asked about it all the time. I truly believe President Trump's answer on the Tim Pool show from the Libertarian Convention summed it all up. I know who to trust. I know who not to trust. Well, we learned from him the last time around, and I believe he does.
That's what I'm gonna double down on that question for you, because when we've asked before, just in conversation, we're talking about the mistakes in the first term. A lot of people will criticize Donald Trump. Why didn't he do it in his first term? And it's like, did you watch what they did to him in his first term? He was fighting battles off every single direction they could possibly come in. But that's one. I think that's a key one that voters want to know. That when you're an outsider and you go into Washington, D.C., the being on the inside gets you a few privileges ahead of time because you know how the game is played, and he didn't realize how much the game was going to try to play him. What has he learned from his first term that he is going to combat against should he get a second?
I think he, rightfully so, relied upon career government servants to do their job. What he didn't anticipate was the career government servants like a Rod Rosenstein, like a Merrick Garland, like a Christopher Wray, James Comey, Andy McCabe, the list goes on, Mark Esper, Gina Haspel, et cetera. So we're supposed to come in and do their jobs, not weaponize intelligence, weaponize and politicize law enforcement and the military and the national security of this country. But they did it because it's all interconnected in Washington, D.C. So he learned how evil and deep and vicious the swamp is, and it's not a Republican or Democratic thing. He exposed all of them and their flank and their subordinates. And he now knows, and the world knows, that those guys created the people that are in power right now at DOJ, FBI, and DOD. So what he's learned, I believe, in my opinion, is that none of these people are to be trusted. People have been very vocal now in these last 3 years because they want to do anything and everything to get rid of Donald Trump. And a lot of them hold senior government positions, and they need to be eliminated from government because they have shown their political bias and the use of their office for politicization. And I think those are some of the important lessons he's picked up. And just so your audience knows, we got a deep bench. We got a great bench of Americans ready to go in with President Trump, but we got to get to the victory line first, and then we'll figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Former Deputy Director of National Intelligence and former Department of Defense Chief of Staff, Kash Patel, speaking with us here on the Annie Fry Show right now. It's exciting to think about the possibility of that type of change happening in the bureaucracy. Donald Trump certainly has to get there first. And when I'm observing people discussing this campaign and this election, nobody's talking about policy, although what it all comes down to, people just understand what it's like to live in Biden's America. They don't like it. But it still comes down to the question, can I pull the trigger? Can I vote for Donald Trump? And some people are less excited to do that than others. But the referendum on Joe Biden's pretty resoundingly unanimous. How does the Trump campaign and how do American voters come together to realize the bigger task that is at hand and fight back against the smears that have been levied against Donald Trump for years and years?
I think that's what Donald Trump has been doing brilliantly. It's been a central ethos of his campaign. He's literally told every American that he's going to be the president for every American. whether you vote for him or not, whether you like him or not. He's still going to be your president. That puts America first, that secures our border, that shuts down the forever wars, and that returns us to a stage of international pride so that we can go out there and work with our allies and take out our adversaries and not go fight another country's war for another 20 years. And what you see Donald Trump do to expand that base is go to places like Washington, D.C., the Lions Den, at the Libertarian National Convention, and speak to a crowd that was very hostile. But he also outlined some brilliant policy points that libertarians focus on, whether it's Bitcoin or Ross Ulbricht or anything else. Donald Trump has the ability to reach across spectrums of politics. And I think Americans are saying, when you contrast this with Joe Biden's America, and when you look how successful Donald Trump was from border security to the economy in the last go-round, I see it everywhere I go and speak with, or at the behest of Trump as a surrogate, Americans of all backgrounds are coming over and saying, I wasn't even participating in politics. I'm all in for Donald Trump. And I think that base is going to expand.
I think it's really telling, too. We're speaking with Kash Patel right now about some of the big names in Democrat conversation. Bill Maher always comes to mind because he seems to still at least think for himself, even though I disagree with a lot of the different places he comes from. It's nice to see that he doesn't read the copy or the talking points. But when it comes to Trump, he just can't. He doesn't like what Biden's doing. He doesn't like what the Democrat Party is doing. But the alternative, the other guy who could win the thing, Donald Trump, he can't make that leap. And he, along with other people like Robert De Niro in New York City, say that if Donald Trump gets elected again, he's never going to leave. And then they kind of point back to the last time, and they use the word insurrection. And I'm always going, but he left. He's not there. Joe Biden's the president. Like, why is this hard? What do you say to people, because you know the president, you know Donald Trump, what do you say to people who accuse Donald Trump of wanting to be the dictator in chief that won't leave should he find his way into the Oval Office once again?
I encourage those people to read the government's own documents. Just like when I ran the Russiagate investigation and exposed the fraud that Hillary Clinton and the FBI committed to chase down a political opponent with their own documentation, it's no different for January 6th and the insurrection disinformation campaign. I was chief of staff at DOD during January 6th. The president did authorize 10+ thousand National Guardsmen and women days before, and Pelosi and Bowser did shut that down. And we have their own written letters proving it. And then we have a Jan 6 committee who came in and championed the insurrection narrative to say Donald Trump was somehow going to hijack the military because they needed to win in the court of public opinion, damn the truth. And now we find out that that committee buried evidence of innocence, buried evidence that corroborated what I've been saying, what Donald Trump's been saying, and buries the insurrection narrative. So I encourage people to go out and get the documents. You might not like me for telling you that the truth is out there, but read it for yourselves. That's the whole point. And then go vote on November 5th. Vote with the truth. And you do that, I'm okay living in that America.
Yeah, they'll have to read them in between their Democrat talking points, which they rely upon daily. I hear them regularly. Kash Patel, speaking with us right now, I wanted to ask you one more question before we go, because the whole insurrectionist thing it's pivotal to the argument on the left to not vote for Trump. They're not even trying to get you to advocate to vote for Joe Biden. They just don't. The worst thing in the world is that Donald Trump finds his way back into the Oval Office. And the more afraid they are and allergic they are to that thought, the more I'm curious as to why it's so scary for Donald Trump to find his way back in the Oval Office. But I'm wondering if you think that Joe Biden is going to be the person on the ballot in November for the Democrat Party, or if we might see some really wild stuff take place at the convention.
Yeah, I don't think, I've said this before, I don't think it's going to be Joe Biden, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Hillary Clinton or some other shenanigans. They're already pulling those levers, and we'll see how they play out in public. But the question I have for audiences who are skeptical of us daring to put out the truth and combating the insurrection narrative or Russia collusion or 51 Intel letter or whatever else they're ginning up, I ask them, what has that party done for you? What has Joe Biden and his policies and his White House done for the American people versus what did Donald Trump do? And I know they won't admit it in public, but they were way better off when Donald Trump was in office. And these people in the Biden administration are not fighting for everyday Americans. So I'm glad we're able to expose the two-tier system of justice. For me, as a national security prosecutor and public defender, I think Donald Trump has done a masterful job of turning around the judicial witch hunt that the Biden administration has orchestrated and showing everyday Americans what due process is supposed to be like. And I think that's going to nestle with a lot of Americans.
I can only imagine, especially from your position with the experience and the access to knowledge that you have, how frustrating it is to watch what they accuse Donald Trump of doing knowing how aggressively the collusion between the bureaucracy, the power players on the left that must retain power at all costs, and the media that has been there every step of the way to subsidize their needs to retain that power, that's got to be pretty frustrating, I would think.
It's super frustrating, but you know what? With shows like yours, we're winning. We're putting people back on the offense with the truth. We're putting out great material behind Donald Trump's leadership, and I'll never stop fighting for him. And that's why we got together with Steve Bannon to turn Government Gangsters, my bestseller, into a movie, which is coming out next month. If you think they hated us before, wait till we drop this bad boy in a theater near you.
All right. Maybe we'll have to do a screening here in St. Louis. Would love to see that.
Let's do it.
Kash
I'm
Patel.
in. You just got my word.
All right. Fantastic. We will be in contact. Thank you for being here with us today. We look forward to having you back soon.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You as well. Bye-bye. Former Department of Defense Chief of Staff and former Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Kash Patel. And it seems as though his name brings some people into the spotlight. People have opinions on this guy. That's why we have him on the show. My favorite is when people are like, this guy is not unbiased. And I'm like, no, he hasn't. This is on here because of his perspective. I'm not unbiased either. I have a bias. You have a bias. The listeners have a bias. We just get to have all the biases together under the umbrella of the First Amendment. It's just a reminder, in case anybody needed a reminder. I say what I think, and I think what I say. And I don't get any pre-written scripts from anyone, and no one tells me what to say and what not to say. And anybody else who tells you that I am being told what to say is also selling you something. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I don't know if Ethan's going to come back in now. We're kind of playing the Ethan thing. We're going to talk about the Cardinals with him in the 2 o'clock hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't run this by him personally, so I just say it on the air, so it has to happen. But people are asking about his wedding. So let's see if there's an update there. So a little Ethan time while Ryan's enjoying some extended Memorial Day weekend vacation with his family. We appreciate you being with us. Let's discuss this poll when we come back. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Would it increase the support for Donald Trump, decrease the support, or no effect? Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be back in just a minute.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. This guy knows how to help you get the best situation for your mortgage. Your mortgage is probably the biggest loan you're going to take out. And when you are finding out where you're going to go get your mortgage from, what the rate's going to be, so on and so forth, you really do need to make sure that you give yourself the best possible outcome, which means you're going to have conversations maybe with more than one people about getting that mortgage initially set up. Don't leave Stewie out of those contacts. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. When you talk to Stewie about the bagel loan, you'll learn very quickly that when you get your mortgage with the bagel loan, all of those closing costs that hit you right there at closing, not with the bagel loan, not with Stewart's American Mortgage. They don't exist. They don't get rolled into the loan. No closing costs. Put those thousands of dollars back in your pocket. 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Before you sell your home, consider your options. Mark Cox here, and for years now, I've been telling you about St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is an expert in selling homes for the most money because she has the guarantees, the buyers, and different solutions for every type of seller. She recently provided a family multiple cash offers in minutes so they could move quickly with no showings, no costly repairs, and no hassles. Now, not everyone's looking for multiple cash offers. That's why Gloria will sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. Her name says it all, Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Regardless of whether you're looking for multiple cash offers or you want to utilize her Guaranteed Sold program to ensure you get the most money possible. Here's your next step. Call Gloria at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Would it increase support, decrease support, or have no effect? We want to know what you think on that, and the best way to share that is to jump on Annie's YouTube page and vote in the live chat poll. And then after you vote, leave a comment so we know why you voted the way you voted. And we might actually read that comment on air. The time is 1:46. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
June 27th, Donald Trump debates Joe Biden, and you can only hear it here on 97.1 FM Talk. But you're also invited to the party. We'll all be at Dave & Buster's, so join us June 27th for the debate and visit 971talk.com/events. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
To be no slave. I don't want you to work all day, but I want you to be true, and I just want to make love to you.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Man, it's been a long day. It's 1:47, and it's been a day. I've almost been up for 12 hours.
It's an incredibly long day.
I've been up for 11 hours. Got to do a Fox News hit this morning, and I got asked on, I think it was Friday, to if I would be interested in doing a Fox and Friends First hit. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, Tuesday at 4:15 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. It's a great opportunity, and I wouldn't pass it up. But I've literally been awake since about 2:45. No, that's not true. I got up at 2:45, and the reason why I correct the literally been awake since part is because after the fact, I went into our office, and Brad came in because Brad does these things. He's like, you want help? I'll come in. So Brad came in to help me get my shot set up and everything. And Brad went to work. So we did the we did the Fox hit at 4:15 in the morning. I mean, I was done with my Fox hit. Walking out with the lights, and Mark Cox was walking in the building. He's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, that was a great question.
Yeah. We beat the whole morning show here.
Yeah. So we go into our office, and I brought from home my daughter's, and by daughter, I mean my 2-year-old's nap mat. And it's maybe like 4 feet long, 3 feet long, 4 feet long. It's not my height. I'm about 5'8". I brought that and a blanket and a pillow off my couch. And I think I slept for about 2 hours on the floor while Brad worked. And then we went to get breakfast. And it's not easy to book a show the day after a long holiday weekend because nobody's answering emails over the weekend because they're really like getting into your weekend. If it's just a normal weekend and you're sending out emails, you might get a response back here and there. But there's a lot of news happening. And so we kind of were meandering through the morning, waiting to see how the show would shape up. But it's difficult when you have to be like at your absolute best at 4:15 a.m. because you're going to be on national cable news. So I have to look my best, approach the situation full of energy, and then be like, oh my gosh, I'm done, and it's 4:30 a.m. Where do I go from here? So I don't know if I would say I'm struggling. I would say I'm struggling. I'm probably struggling just to push through and get done with this show. So I appreciate you being here with us. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, I'll probably tweet out the video or whatever of the hit this morning. It went well. Those things you never know. Technology.
Yeah. You really got to work because you're worried about the internet connection. I mean, we went in there, we juiced up the background a little bit. We hung a sign or two. We worked on lighting. We made improvised laptop stands, whatever we could do to get the camera angles right, to get the lights right. And then at the end of the day, you're at the mercy of the internet.
Yeah.
So
that's why I come here and don't do it at home, because I have done a few of these Fox hits from home, and my internet connection sometimes makes the quality look just a little bit less, looks a little garbled or whatever. And if I do it and it sucks, they're not going to have me back.
No.
So I get up at 2:45 and come stand in the studio for 10 minutes. It was great. I was happy to do it.
I thought it was a great hit, too.
Yeah, I was excited to be able to have the opportunity, and always looking for other opportunities to do things like that. So thank you to Fox and Friends First, Carly Shimkus, for having me on. It was a mom's panel. We're supposed to talk about how parents are feeling about the election that is coming. And I'm like, well, I got some thoughts. I got some feelings about that. You can let us know what you think as a parent going into this November election. Just specifically think about being a parent. Leave some of those comments on the Andy Fry YouTube channel, and I'll read some of them before we wrap the show later. You can also go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Would it increase support? Would it decrease support? Or would there be no effect? We just had Kash Patel on the show for an interview, but here's a clip from Kash about whether he got...
Because the judge in this case and the prosecutors know that they'll never publicly admit, if they jail Donald Trump, he's going to win overnight.
Mm-hmm.
If Donald Trump is found guilty, which because it's a rigged system, there's a likelihood that he might, they are going to have to allow Donald Trump to stay out on bond while he appeals this bogus trial. Otherwise, this country's going to go nuts.
I mean, I wonder how many of you feel like that. If he were to be jailed, that's different than a guilty verdict, because if he's found guilty by the jury, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be a hung jury. But if he were to be found guilty and put in jail, is that the final straw for American voters to say he's got to be the president? What do you think, Brad?
Ultimately, I think it's really not going to move the needle. If it moves it much, if it moves it any direction at all, it's going to increase support a little bit. But ultimately, I don't think it's going to have any effect. I think people are where they are. The people have looked at the trials. They've either decided that this trial is bunk and any conviction from this trial doesn't mean squat, or they looked at this and said Trump was guilty of something and they finally found something, so they already thought he was guilty. So either way, it's not going to move the needle. And even the people that aren't paying attention, they're still going to fall in one of those two camps. They're going to be like, I don't know that I even like this, or I don't know that what took so long.
So your response?
No effect.
No effect. Phenom says, I voted for decrease because if he is convicted, those on the fence will go the other way. I just don't. I think that people who say that, or say that if he's convicted, it will persuade people to be more supportive, you have a pretty distinct prejudicial thought process about the whole thing as it is, which is natural. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I just think that that's kind of the way these things go. Let's look at Doug says he agrees with you. No effect. Anyone who's following this ridiculous lawfare is already decided. Nobody's waiting to hear a verdict to decide which terrible candidate they support. It's kind of, I can't, it's hard for me to believe that if he's acquitted or if he's found not guilty, that doesn't shift people.
Yeah, I think if he's acquitted or found not guilty, that does shift people. I think that people are more open to seeing.
No, I'm saying acquitted or found guilty.
Oh, acquitted or found guilty.
Like a decisive,
no.
not the hung jury.
I could see an acquittal shading more people than a guilty verdict at this point. And I know that sounds weird, but the way I look at that, like I said, people have already kind of made up their mind on this, but I think acquittal would maybe cause a little more people to go, yeah, maybe this whole thing was bunk to begin with anyway.
I also don't think that we can forget about everybody who's paying attention has made up their mind.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still people out there who are not traditional voters. The Republicans should be going after the low propensity voter who would look at this and go, yeah, he's getting screwed. I'll vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
What the Democrats have done successfully is get out the vote with people who are not likely voters and turn them into people who are willing to fill out a ballot. That's how the Democrats have been able to really successfully bank votes ahead of time within the laws that these state legislatures have changed the voting process and not taken it from voting day to voting season. That's how the Democrats win. The Republicans need to beat them at their own game. And if they want to change it back, they need to win the state legislatures in order to do it. This is a writer from the Atlantic.
I would love to say that I thought, a conviction here would lead to a mass exodus of social conservatives or evangelical Christians. And I want to be clear. I've spent a lot of time on the campaign trail interviewing a lot of these people, and a lot of them are sincere people of faith who struggle with supporting Donald Trump on a character basis. But they've made their peace with him, and they've made up their minds to support him. And I think the problem with this trial as a potential needle mover is that there just isn't enough new information for people who have already, over the last 2 election cycles, brought themselves to pull the lever for Donald Trump. They already know that he's a womanizer. They know he's not a man of great, faith or integrity. They also, a lot of them know that he's corrupt. In fact, if you remember in the 2016 campaign, part of his message was, I've been down in the muck with these kind of corrupt establishment people. I know how they operate, and now I'm going to do this for you.
So I really do believe that there are 2 camps of people, the always Trumpers and the never Trumpers. Those people are stuck. Those people are committed to the cause, whatever their cause is. But I don't think that that's the majority of people. You've got to be somebody who pays attention to be in those camps. And there are a lot of people who don't pay attention. There are a lot of people who hear the name Trump and hear the name Biden and roll their eyes the exact same way for both of them. They think that it's noise, it's distracting. They think that, they've got lives to lead, they've got kids to raise, they've got jobs to do, and they don't have time for what they believe is the worst matchup that we could have come up with, which is a rematch between Trump and Biden. The phrase, the rematch nobody wanted, is what keeps coming up. Well, if nobody wanted it, then why do we have it? Let us know what you think on the Annie Fry YouTube poll. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Increase it, decrease it, or no effect? Let us know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Leave a comment. We'll feature them at the end of the show with the results. We'll be right back.
Love to you. Ooh, love to you.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years. Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO. Easy to remember phone number. Or go online today at 877-25rhino.com.
So when you go to the diamond shop and you talk to them about something that you were looking for, something special, you have an idea in your head, you can tell Tom that at the diamond shop. You can talk to Mona. You can talk to the people, the staff that they have there. and they can help make that become a reality. That's the necklace that I'm wearing right now. It's this beautiful cross necklace with a paperclip chain. It's so beautiful. And my husband worked with Tom to design something specifically for me. And I really appreciate that it's such a personal gift. And it's a personal thing that my husband was able to make come to life with the Diamond Shop. Is this you? Is this something that would be special, give you a special opportunity for a gift come your wedding anniversary this summer? Lots of weddings in June and July. Maybe you were looking for something special for your loved one. 30% off all in-stock jewelry right now, plus a 10% extra off with your VIP status. Just go to thediamondshop.net, scroll to the bottom, and fill out the form and become a VIP. That's thediamondshop.net.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
One last chance for prosecutors. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, giving their closing arguments at former President Trump's New York hush money trial, spending considerable time on the credibility of former attorney Michael Cohen after the defense took aim at him earlier today in their closing argument.
They went through the list of everyone he's admitted to or gotten caught lying to: his wife, his kids, bankers, federal judges, state judges, Congress. I mean, they went through the list multiple times, and that was the last chance the defense, unless something really unusual happens, will get to talk to this jury. And if you're pinning your entire case on a guy who, even as the prosecution with the burden of proof says, well, he lies sometimes, the jury's going to have to ask, was he lying this time?
Fox's Shannon Bream. Prosecutors say then President Trump falsified business records to cover up hush money reimbursements to Cohen. Just before the prosecution began its close, the judge telling the jury to disregard what he calls an improper comment from the defense that they shouldn't send the former president to prison. The Israeli military calls the deadly fire at a Palestinian refugee camp in Gaza devastating and says how it started remains under investigation because an airstrike targeting senior Hamas officials was nearly a mile away from that humanitarian area.
As we have said before, Israel has a right to go after the Hamas terrorists responsible for the cold-blooded murder of civilians, as appears to have been Israel's aim here, and Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians in Gaza.
State Department spokesman Matthew Miller says the U.S. will closely watch the results of the Rafah investigation. Just 2 weeks after humanitarian aid started flowing into Gaza from a U.S.-built pier, that aid is now suspended after damage to the pier from rough seas. The Pentagon just confirming the pier will now have to be removed from the Gaza coast for repairs. America is listening to Fox News.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
A near perfect afternoon of weather across St. Louis. Sunshine in control, low humidity, dry, no storms. Though a little breezy, 79. Tonight, clear and cool. I'll drop through the 70s for any evening plans. A cool 55 for the overnight low. Wednesday, sunny and nice, 77. Do that again on Thursday, sunny and about 78. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
So Air Comfort Service, you can find them easily right now at aircomfortservice.com. You needing somebody to come out and check on your HVAC? It's not just residential repairs that they do. They can also help you with your commercial repairs that you might need or a replacement. They do a lot of commercial business in the St. Louis area, and you can be the next person to give them a call and let them know what you need. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. When you reach out to them, you can get a free second opinion on the work that you might need to have done. Maybe it's a heat exchanger or compressor repair. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, when you talk to Air Comfort Service, you're getting their 55-plus years of experience and satisfying customers in the bi-state region with great service that you can read about in Google reviews with the BBB and everything. It stands on its own. You can add my endorsement, of course, to it. But Air Comfort Service is full of great people, but also great products and the best service. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
June 27th, Donald Trump debates Joe Biden, and you can only hear it here on 97.1 FM Talk. But you're also invited to the party. We'll all be at Dave & Buster's, so join us June 27th for the debate and visit 971talk.com/events. The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. Fun time this morning. Started it off with a 4:15 a.m. hit on Fox and Friends first and have been here ever since. And I'm grateful that you're spending some of this afternoon with us. Join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. How would a guilty verdict sway Trump support, increase, decrease support, or no effect? Let us know what you think. What do you guys think? Here's a different question. Totally separate question. What's healthier? Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Brad?
I'm going to go with hamburgers.
Yeah, I feel like this is a trick question, and it's going to be hot dogs, but immediately the answer off the top of my head is hamburgers.
What is the thinking behind choosing hamburgers?
The hamburger is generally...
it's made of real meat.
Well, so is a hot dog, but a hot dog's kind of like what's left over.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, all beef franks. I guess if you think of that, but I think that the fat content in hot dogs is higher.
What is that why you think?
Yeah, I think that I think of the quality of the meat that's being used, I guess I would say, would probably be my top reasoning. I don't even know really where the hot dog comes from within within like an animal's body.
You don't want to know.
Exactly.
I am an all beef hot dog person. Like I will be the person like, what kind of hot dogs are these? And then I'll just pass if it's not, or people just lie to me. It's not that I can necessarily tell the difference from eating it, but my mind needs to know. Did you guys do grilling and stuff this weekend for Memorial Day weekend?
Went to a place that grilled, but
Yeah?
I didn't do any grilling myself.
What was on the grill?
Hot dogs and hamburgers.
Hot dogs and hamburgers?
How about that?
No.
It's like you guys knew that or something.
We didn't. I asked that question and thought maybe the answer is no for both.
The answer is no for me. I was at the ballpark all weekend and here all weekend.
We're going to talk about that.
It consumed just about every single minute of my days.
You know, the Memorial Day holiday is obviously an incredibly important one, but Memorial Day is specifically designed to remember the people who we lost while fighting for our country. And a lot of people confuse. And listen, I'm not really all about dumping on people who say, happy, like remembering all of those who serve. Thank you for your service. This is the person who's in my family who's serving, and it's Memorial Day, and they're acknowledging their loved one who is making the sacrifice to serve. The sacrifice to serve is truly an honorable one. The sacrifice to die for your country is an extra honorable one, and that's why it has its distinct holiday. I do think that it's important to have the distinction, but I do think we get a little extra zealous, smacking each other around, correcting each other, mostly just in social media.
Yeah.
Over it's not, I'm not saying you shouldn't highlight it, but if you're the actually guy all the time on these things, then sometimes it detracts away from the purpose to begin with. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you like Memorial Day? Veterans Day is to recognize veterans.
Sure.
Armed Services Day is to recognize people currently serving.
Right.
Memorial Day is to recognize people who died serving.
Of course, yes.
I see a lot of actuallys.
What do you mean by when you say actuallys there? Like in what specific way? Like actually what is that being followed
I
up
didn't
with?
do this, but let's say I put up a thing on social media yesterday that said, today remembering all of those who served. I would be guaranteed to have 5% of the comments would be explaining that that's not what today is about.
Okay, gotcha.
And they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong.
Sure.
And I do think it's important to distinguish between those who have lost their lives and the families that are left behind of those who have lost their lives serving. There's a lot of correcting going on. It's tough.
It almost feels like sometimes maybe those that are doing the correcting think it's more important that you know that they know than to make sure that, hey, just a PSA, so you know.
Do you see this coming more so from people that have specifically experienced that side of it to where they have understood what it means to have someone that served and lost their life? Or do you think this is the actually is coming from other people?
I think that there are people who are correctors.
Okay.
And I think they're just there to correct.
Right.
Because there's a big difference in those two groups that you just...
Totally.
If I were speaking to somebody who had lost somebody, I would be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you for your sacrifice. The reason I bring this up is because Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Cori Bush of your very dear, what do I call it? The Lou? Anywho, Ilhan Omar tweeted out 10 a.m., 5/27/24. And when it's tweeted out at 10 a.m., that makes me think it's a scheduled tweet that you scheduled it for 10 a.m. If it's scheduled, did Ilhan Omar tweet this out or did her staff tweet this out? I don't know. Does it matter? Probably. On Memorial Day, we honor the heroic men and women who served our country. We owe them more than our gratitude. They have more than earned access to quality mental health services, job opportunities, housing assistance, and the benefits they were promised. So here is an acknowledgement of Memorial Day that is actually not entirely accurate, which is what the a-hole in Independence Day says when they're like, He's going, Area 51, Area 51, you knew then. And he's like, there's no Area 51. And then they say the plausible deniability thing. I just watched Independence Day. Great movie. Great lines. It isn't entirely accurate. So she kind of is a little bit off as a congresswoman. I'd hope she would do better because it is a specific thing that you would hope a congresswoman would acknowledge. But she takes it as an opportunity to make a progressive point about government programs and policies, which, honestly, if it's for our vets, I'm probably there to support them. But she kind of got that wrong.
Are you okay with that part of it? Are you okay with attaching the...
No.
Okay.
Just make them 2 tweets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that rubs me the wrong way. Which is like, don't use Memorial Day for your policy push.
Right. And I think that's something that can probably, and I can't think of any specific situations, that could be an easy one where I feel like for myself, it'd be really easy for me to jump on Congresswoman Omar and say, well, why did you have to attach those? And there may be something on the other side where you attach from a Republican, a political,
they're not
something
maybe.
with that, right?
There is,
but probably
yeah.
And you don't even notice yourself say like, yeah, that's a great tweet, and then after you're like, oh, didn't even recognize. But it's a great point that those two things should be separate, and we should be able to, whether it's politicians or us, be able to say, thank you for your service, thank you to family members for allowing for them to give their lives, and have that be an entirely separate thing from any sort of a political agenda.
Congressman Cori Bush tweeted out at 9:52 a.m., this Memorial Day and every day we honor our veterans in St. Louis. We must invest in universal health care, affordable housing, comprehensive mental health services, and educational and economic opportunities for our veterans as we work to build a world free of war and violence. I need to go back and look for her tweets really aggressively calling out Hamas for, what does she say here, war and violence. Again, both of those tweets, they deleted both of those tweets. I think it's more because of getting the message of Memorial Day wrong than I think it is the juxtaposition of, hey, it's Memorial Day, these are the policies I want to advocate for. Do you see a problem with these tweets?
Yeah. Whenever you attach, like if you're going to make a Memorial Day tweet, make a Memorial Day tweet. If you're going to honor those that have fallen in defense of this country and in defense of the freedoms, then do that. You don't need to be talking about universal health care. You don't need to be talking about any of that. You don't need, I don't know what the right word is, gross. It's gross to kind of do that because what you're trying to do is mobilize the emotions that people are feeling in the moment of that day, because Memorial Day is one of those days. It's kind of solemn. If you stop and think about it, it's kind of solemn. And I go back and forth because I don't know what the right way to say, like, you wish veterans happy Veterans Day, but you don't really do that on Memorial Day because you don't, there's an amount of gratitude and amount of happiness that goes along with,
well, it's the price.
With knowing what the price that was paid and the freedoms that you got on that. Like, there's an extreme amount of gratitude and happiness and thanks that goes out for that. But I don't know what the right way to say it is. But then you get somebody that takes those emotions that people are having on those, especially if somebody has lost someone in war or in service to this country, and then you try to mobilize those emotions to get more political points. That's gross.
I think that the thought of honoring something can be an uplifting thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Happy New Year. It's not happy in that sense. But honoring something and remembering something doesn't inherently have to be full of sadness and despair, because there is a price for the freedom that we enjoy. There is a cost associated with preserving the freedom that we enjoy. And we're also a very young country. People don't really think about it as much because if you're, what are we, 200 and something, 70 years old or something like that? 50, I don't know. It's late. It's a very expensive price to pay to preserve freedom, but we have people who have fought to protect it and signed up to preserve it, and it does deserve its distinguished day. I'm disappointed in Omar and Cori Bush for a lot of things. I'm not proud of them for this. I think that I understand why people are frustrated with it, but their actual policies are way more reprehensible than the tweets.
I will say, at least Cori Bush reposted and edited something to where it wasn't nearly as
Do you
much.
have it?
Including it, yeah, it says, "This Memorial Day, we honor those who served and lost their lives for our country, and we hold in our hearts the loved ones they've left behind. We must continue to push to protect our service members while working to build a world free of war and violence." So it's a little bit better than the original one.
That's better. That's fine.
Omar didn't post anything else.
Some people did something.
Yeah.
I hope you were able to enjoy and acknowledge your Memorial Day. It was, the weather that we're having here in St. Louis this year is kind of nuts. Have you experienced any of the terrible stuff?
What do you mean? Like at the ballpark specifically, or just in
I forgot
general?
you were at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Well, hold that thought, because I want to talk to you a little bit about your experience of whatever it is that the Cardinals are doing. I saw, I just enjoy John Boy so much on Twitter. I can't get enough of him, and he's like light rain at Busch Stadium, and then you see the video of the steps.
Niagara Falls on the dugout steps.
It's a beautiful new water fixture that they installed on top of the steps of the dugout. It was just
Your tax dollars, St. Louis.
Yeah,
right
there you go. Man, you're right at home, Ethan. You're doing this right. Oh, Lord. Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Hamburgers.
Healthier? Hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
So, in the face-off between hamburgers versus hot dogs, both can be enjoyed in moderation. When it comes to the overall nutritional profile, though, she said that hamburgers made with lean meat and loaded with veggies tend to offer a better balance of protein, healthy fats, and essential nutrients. Hamburgers typically made with ground beef can provide a significant amount of protein, iron, and essential nutrients. However, they are often higher in saturated fat and calories. Meanwhile, hot dogs are generally lower in calories and fat, but they may contain more sodium and processed ingredients. I feel like what they decided is that the surface area of a hamburger allows you to eat more veggies. So I don't feel like there was a ringing endorsement there for either. They're like, you can have them, don't eat all of them, and wherever you can fit a veggie, put it on there. Either way, lean ground beef, which does not taste as good.
Well, no, that's where the flavor comes from.
That's why you put all the veggies and onions and lettuce. And what do you eat on your burger? How do you eat it?
Lettuce, tomato, pickle, and mayo, ketchup, mustard.
Ooh, mayo.
Cheese?
Yeah.
Kind.
What kind of cheese?
Yeah.
Like
there's only
perfect world?
There's only one answer here.
Yeah, you're going to say American cheese, but the right answer is pepper jack cheese.
Oh my gosh. 2 wrong answers. You?
I think that I usually go with either cheddar or Colby Jack.
Cheddar is the correct answer.
And I do lettuce, tomato, pickle, ketchup, mustard.
Lettuce, tomato, pickle, ketchup, mustard. I will have all of that. Hold the tomato, add onion.
Yeah, I'm not an onion guy.
Red onion.
Not an onion guy.
Fresh, crisp, snappy onions. Ketchup, mustard, mayo. A little bit of all. You don't
mayo,
need
both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had it?
I'm not a mayo guy.
Have you had it? Have you had it?
Yes,
Have you had it? Have you
yes,
tried
I've
it?
had mayo before, Annie.
Have you had it on a burger?
No,
you haven't. You need to try it.
It's just mayo in general.
It doesn't taste. It's not like you're eating a bite of mayo on a burger. It's part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is, though. It's literally like it's mayo on a burger. You just said it's not that, and then you said, but it's on the burger.
It is.
It's
but it's
exactly
not like
what you just said it wasn't.
You said you don't like mayo. You don't taste mayo. You taste what happens when you put mayo on the cheeseburger.
That's the purpose of mayo, though. That's what it does. I just don't like what it adds.
You need to eat a burger with mayo and tell me if you like it. Let us know what the proper cheese is also for a cheeseburger. I think it's cheddar. You're a cheddar Colby Jack, and you said pepper jack? Oh, gosh, no. I'm not opposed to a pepper jack. That's like a different kind of burger to me. That's not like the go-to
I think you're
burger.
overthinking your cheese here.
I think you're underthinking your cheese.
She's thinking American standard cheeseburger.
Yes.
And she's right if it's American
Sharp
standard cheese.
Cheddar.
Cheddar's
cheese.
good, but
Yeah.
pepper jack better.
I wouldn't be opposed. Play the music. We gotta go. I wouldn't be opposed to pepper jack. It's just not like the burger's burger. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, now that we've solved the hamburger hot dog debate, did we? We're going to ask Ethan a little bit about his experience this weekend. The rain, the baseball, the city connects, whatever he wants to talk about on the Annie Fry Show when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Dressed so fine and looking so pretty. Cool cat looking for a kitty. Gonna look in every corner of the city. Till I'm
All right, windowworld.com. When you were reaching out to Window World to talk to them about the window replacements for your home, you want to make sure that you understand you can get 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. This is a great opportunity for you to finally pull the trigger on getting the replacement windows for your home. Reach out to them and talk to them about the quality of their window, and you're going to be very excited that they come with a really good, the replacement windows for your home are going to be a really good quality. Double strength glass, not traditionally used in replacement windows. You're going to get that when you get your Window World replacement windows. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. These windows come with a lifetime warranty covering labor, which is in addition to parts and glass breakage. Is a little exceptional, of course, from Window World. And when you shop here locally at Window World, you're shopping with local people. You'll be glad to be able to partner with Window World to get a great deal on a wonderful window for the replacements in your home. 314-993-1800. You can find them online at windowworld.com.
You know your customers. Ralph likes his coffee black on Fridays, but Mondays he takes a little cream. Jennifer comes in every 3 years when her lease is up to get the newer and better model. And for some reason, pepperoni pizza sells like crazy on Friday nights. Who knew? At Odyssey, we have the expertise to get your media plan done right. With ads like you're hearing right now, to targeted social media campaigns, search engine optimization, and location-based advertising. Advertise with Odyssey and help us grow your business. Visit ads.odyssey.com.
Mark Cox here. Did you know the Rockwood School District is a great place to work? They're currently hiring school bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodial staff, as well as summer positions for mowers and landscapers. They have openings in Adventure Club, which is before and after school care. They offer competitive pay, flexible work hours, and a rewarding work environment. Discover the Rockwood Advantage and join an amazing team. Go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, summer is our season. And we're kicking it off with a free 12-ounce Island Punch smoothie for National Flip Flop Day. Grab your flip-flops and head to your local cafe on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Visit our Summerlin community in O'Fallon, Missouri, located at the corner of Double D and Summers Road, featuring our popular Liberty Series homes. Your kids have a short walk to the best schools in St. Charles. Choose from 2- and 3-car garages starting in the 400,000s. We have 4 move-in ready homes that are available now with special savings. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Get in your comfort zone with double Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $4,200 and 0% financing up to 72 months on a new HVAC system. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 On Command. Just tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app and stay on top of everything happening anytime, even when you're not close to a radio. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
To the Annie Fry Show. We talked a little bit about Memorial Day in the last segment, and just the way different people react to it. I always wonder, I think on social media it's so easy to just jump on the way someone says something and criticize it, I think that's our initial reaction is to criticize. And then you're like, oh, maybe if you force yourself to read something and just pretend that it was said in a different light, you can usually understand how it could be presented differently. Granted, if you follow somebody and you know the context with which they tweet, then you kind of know the tone. But I will say I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend, that it was memorable for you, that you were able to enjoy the spoils of freedom that we have in the United States of America at the ultimate price of those who have paid with their lives. And it's something that is important to stop and pause and react to and appreciate and really value what it is to be American, and to understand that all of the differences that we have amongst ourselves, that they are all protected here in a country where you can be different. You can think differently. You can speak differently. And that is a freedom that has been paid for by blood. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. Also, we found out that hamburgers are healthier than hot dogs if you eat them in moderation and mostly eat veggies on them.
There's no positive either way, really, I guess, to either of them without the veggies.
What kind of bun? What's the best hamburger bun?
Annie, you have to understand something, okay?
Tell it to me.
I have not been out of the house long enough to know the difference between the kind of buns that I could even get
just like,
for a burger.
Wait, there are
It's
kinds?
whatever's there.
Brad?
Can I say toasted?
Sure.
Yeah, toasted sesame seed bun.
Mm.
Make it ease?
No.
That's just all I think of when I hear a sesame seed bun.
Let me think of
The
my
song.
culinary experiences. Well, you know the difference between
brioche.
Brioche is
That's a
did
good
somebody
one.
comment that? Yes. Pretzel buns?
I don't
Pretzel
even know.
buns are really
That's what they
good.
used to serve at the restaurant I used to be a server.
Pretzel buns sounds like an endearing term.
Pretzel buns.
Come here, pretzel buns. I'm not talking to anybody in the room. Just saying.
Good clarification.
Yeah, I know. If Ryan were here, this whole conversation,
What
the
if
rest of the
this-
segment would be
the
his
whole
to
thing
take.
would have been.
Yes. I would just sit here and giggle, and he would do something really in depth on pretzel buns.
I'm not Ryan.
That's correct. I'm going to ask you about baseball.
Much better.
So you work in the press box
Mm-hmm.
for the St. Louis Cardinals, and you also do stringing after the game. Microphone in the face of a pitcher, of a hitter, of a whomever.
Literally in their mouth, like all
As
the
close
way
as
right
you
up
can
to
get.
it. Yeah.
For Cam Wexton for the Cardinals.
Yes.
Let's see, it was last Sunday, not this last Sunday, the Sunday before this. I was at the Cardinals game, and we happened to be sitting real close to the press box, and Ethan took myself and my 3 biggest kids into the press box, and they were very wide-eyed. We're very grateful for the experience.
Of course.
It's always fun to watch other broadcasters broadcast different things. Like if we go into Y98 and watch them do music DJing, totally different ballgame than what we do. When we bring music people into our studio and it's like we have to talk for 17 minutes. Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry, I top out at 45.
Yeah. Okay. It's fine. We're just going to need 18 of you.
Yeah.
Just line them up. But you work in the press box there, and so you have a front row seat to the St. Louis Cardinals season. Are we one behind 500 or are we 500?
2 games under now after
2 games?
yesterday's loss.
We lost yesterday.
Yes.
I tried desperately to go to bed early and
It was a
didn't
day game.
really early.
So clearly.
No, I was at the pool, and then it was a matter of wrapping it up. And I literally was trying to go to sleep at 6. I don't know if the game was over by then, but so we're 2 games back.
Mm-hmm. 2 games under 500.
2 games under 500.
Yes.
How many games back from second
Last
place,
time,
maybe?
From second place, we're only a game back now because the Cubs are the next team that we're chasing, and we just took 2 out of 2 against them in this weekend series. So that was a really big one for us to get both of those wins. So currently,
Who did we play yesterday?
Yesterday they played Cincinnati. So
are
they're
we
in
in
Cincinnati right
now?
now. Yes.
Okay.
So because they played on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN on Sunday night, and with the 2.5-hour rain delay, let's see. I was in the clubhouse. It was after midnight that I was in the clubhouse. They flew to Cincinnati that night, and they got in, I believe Chip Carey said, at 3:15 in the morning.
And what time is the game?
The game was at 3:10.
That's a quick turnaround.
Very quick turnaround. It doesn't get much shorter than that.
There's no rest.
No. And that's on top of rain delays all homestand. So a 9-game homestand is already very long. Feels even longer when you mix in the amount of time you're just sitting around.
How many rain delays have there been in this past homestand?
There was 3.
2 rainouts?
One
One with the Cubs.
one was postponed to the next day.
But a rainout.
Yes, and then the Cubs one was postponed to July 13th. So yes, 2 were postponed.
How does that work with pitchers? Because I would assume, I mean, they're professional athletes. They have to get their bodies ready.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get their minds ready too. But you have to, you got to get physically ready to pitch. Especially pitching is probably the biggest deal of them. When you have rain delays like that, how does that screw with the preparation process for a Major League Baseball player?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny that you asked this because I basically asked Sonny
Did you
Gray.
have to get...
I asked Sonny Gray this exact question on Sunday night. I asked him, what are some of the things that you're doing to keep loose but also not like overdo it to where
you've thrown all your pitches.
To where you're gassed out, right? Because 2.5 hour rain delay, that's no joke. That's serious. So to be able to, keep loose. So what he said was every 15 minutes from the time that he had found out that, because obviously they have the routines for how they're going to get loose, and that's basically put on hold. But you have to find a way,
lots of routines
to stay sort of loose, to be ready to. Once you find out it's time to start going here, you got to be ready to go. So he said that every 15 minutes, he would do some sort of stretching or loosening up, warming up activity. He said whether it be 100 jump ropes or some sort of stretching miscellaneous, something every 15 minutes that was, 1 or 2 minutes to keep himself loose, which I thought was really interesting. He said that obviously that's not what everyone does. Everyone does their own thing. It's really what just works best for everyone. And then he said that when I asked him how it was keeping himself mentally focused, he said, and I quote, it was okay. And that was it. So,
and what did you glean from that?
Yeah,
Ethan?
right. Now, I was like, no more questions. You're good. That's all I'm going to make you answer.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting question, right? How do you manage to keep yourself focused, and how do you manage to stay sharp when and at that point you really have no idea when you're going to play? That's the toughest part about it.
Or even if you're going to play.
Yeah, it's not like you could say okay, we're going to be going now at 9:00, so if I can just start at this time and then start my routine, then I'm going to be good to go. No, we found out up in the broadcast booth maybe 40 minutes before, said, okay, we're aiming for this time to get going. So, and I don't know how long their routines are, but I imagine from start to finish, it's much longer than 40 minutes. So that's a tough little challenge there for pitchers with those rain delays. But
we have the best record. The St. Louis Cardinals have the best record in the last 10 games in the Central.
Yeah, they've been very good. They've won 10 of 13.
Why did they wait to get good?
Next time I'm in the.
I'm trying to solidify the fact that I never will re-enter sports radio.
Next time I'm in the clubhouse, I'll be sure to ask them why they took so long to.
Tell him Mark Cox wants to know. Hi, Mark. Mark Cox says, "What took so long? What did take so long?"
So it's funny. Everything in that clubhouse, and one of the other questions I've been kind of consistently asking, because we go to different players based off of who had standout games and who were some of the more notable guys and performance-wise for games. So it leaves opportunities to talk to different guys on different days. And one of the constant questions over the last couple of games that I've been asking is there been anything within the clubhouse that has changed from the time that just 2 weeks ago you were finishing up a 8-game losing streak to now winning 10 out of 13?
Yeah.
Has there been anything that's changed? And the overall answer has been no.
It just happened.
It's everyone within that clubhouse recognized that it's a talented roster, that people are confident in their abilities and they're confident in their teammates' abilities. Just also recognizing it's a tough sport, and right now it's super rare, but there are times when good teams just as a whole have team-wide slumps. And it is, like I said, rare. It is extremely rare for that to happen. But when you look at this lineup from 1 to 9, you look at the track records from a lot of these guys, this team was expected to be good offensively, especially. So for them to have the struggles that they did to start the year were a huge surprise. But that's why I think I was really impressed with just how patient this team has been. And even in the struggles, yes, clearly there was frustration at times, but nothing really overall changed that big time to where it was like, okay, we're going to completely change the approach. We're completely changing everything. Throw out everything that we have. We have to start from scratch as to how we're going to figure out how to get this offense going. It wasn't that. It was a lot of staying with routines, trying to tweak things along the way.
Which you do no matter what.
Yes.
You're always trying to improve.
Yes.
Not just when you suck. So you didn't ask the question. They went, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
This is true. Nice. That is a true radio host right there, Annie Fry.
I hope you've all been listening to the entire show. When Ethan did Wiggins America on failure by way of advice from one Brian Wiggins. What did he do?
Learn from the best.
What was his advice to you? Fail
onward and forward, I think.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Yeah, we'll take you back tomorrow as
Doing
well.
my best.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. The Cardinals are 5.5 games back of the Brewers and 1 game back from second place. And we have a playful back and forth with Tyrus on Thursdays. And it'll be interesting to see where we are because the Cardinals, are 25-27, and the Red Sox are 27-27.
Have you talked to him since the Cards took 2 out of 3 against Boston?
No.
No.
Okay, well, you'll have to bring that up. And also, 5 out of 6 in the last 2 years against him.
I'm not. Good grief, Ethan. You have somebody in your life who's a Red Sox fan, don't you?
No, just to be quite frank, last year sweeps were a very rare thing and for the Cardinals, and we swept them in Boston last year.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year, yeah.
Did you talk about on Sunday nights, your wedding a lot? Would you give wedding updates? We got a request on here from somebody who wants to know wedding updates, and I'm not 100% sure I know what that means. Did you?
I'm curious who gave it.
It was a while back.
Heidi and she would ask pretty often how wedding planning was going and how all of that was going.
Can you give us an update real quick when we come back?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it. Why not?
All right. Ethan in with us today while Ryan Wiggins is on a little long vacation, a long weekend vacation with his family. He'll be back on Thursday. Make sure you join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel and let us know, how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Increase support, decrease support, or no effect at all? Annie Fry YouTube channel in the live chat portion of today's live broadcast. We'll be back with the results and a wedding update from Ethan in just a minute.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Point Pest Control, seeing ants running amok, and not in my house, but it was there's an ant situation over the weekend. And I was thinking to myself, you need Point Pest Control. 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023. A reminder that not just ants, you might see termites in this spring. And when you go to Point Pest Control, they're an authorized Centricon termite system company. And as termites can cause a ton of damages, $5 billion in damages to homes and businesses every year in the United States, just make sure that your home isn't one of those. The second that you see these winged insects in your home, especially near windows, reach out to Point Pest Control for an inspection. 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023. They'll inspect and evaluate to determine if you do have termites. You might not. Sometimes ants have wings. You never know what it is, but you get an expert out there with Point Pest Control. They will solve your problem for you. They are certified Centricon specialists that they use a bait system that is proven to eliminate the entire entire termite colony so they'll get to the whole problem, not just a portion of it. Call them at 636-798-0023. When you mention the Annie Fry Show, you're going to get a 10% discount on the top of any other specials that might exist. Find them online at pointpestcontrol.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
At Hampton Manor of Wentzville, they go the extra step to make sure their residents feel special. Mark Cox here from my friends at Hampton Manor. I recently stopped by there. You know, their veterans are celebrated with special recognitions, including special pastries created by their pastry chef. They have their own private chef. They'll even feed you lunch if you stop by for a visit at this great senior living community off the Lake St. Louis exit at Highway 70. Schedule your appointment today at WentzvilleAssistedLiving.com.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill, or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? There's still time to get this in, so make sure you go to Annie Fry's YouTube page and vote in the live chat poll. We want to know, will it increase support, decrease support, or have no effect? Like I said, go to Annie Fry's YouTube page, vote in the chat, in the YouTube live chat poll, and then leave a message in the chat saying why you voted the way you voted, and we might feature that later on in the show. The time is 2:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting ready to go on a Tuesday. You know, the Trump jury and I had the same amount of time off. Maybe I'm on the Trump jury. You ever think of that? We're going to talk about all this coming up after Fox News at 3.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. There was a request for a wedding planning update from Ethan, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask for that. What's the date?
June 1st.
Dude, you gotta go. What are you doing here?
I'm getting married in 5 days.
How do you feel?
I've been asked this a couple of times today, and my answer has been, I'm fine. I'm good. And the reason being is that this has been the busiest, probably three-week stretch I've ever had. So I feel like I haven't even been able to like fully process how close it is yet.
Yeah.
So excited, definitely getting excited. Also ready to get to that point to where I could just be here because it's just crazy days, busy days.
How long have you been with the future Mrs. Ethan Hannaford?
It'll be it's about a little under 2.5 years.
Okay. It's a good amount of time. Planning is going.
It's pretty much all done now. I mean, if it's not done at this point, then there's a serious problem. So, yeah, right. I mean, we're going to be at the venue all weekend long, which will be exciting. We won't have to be there we'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which will be cool. But, yeah, I'm excited for it to get here and
Can we talk a little bit more about it tomorrow when you're in here with us?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, if you've got wedding questions for Ethan.
Groundbreaking
Let me
stuff.
ask you this. How do you feel about people giving you advice?
I'm receptive.
I like that attitude. You'll listen.
I'll listen. It also depends on who it's coming from.
Mhm.
That's a large part of it too.
There's a lot of bad advice.
Yeah, it also and we know this, like, depending on who, like, what the person's values are, their
Yep.
beliefs, like, that's a big part of it too.
If
I'll
the foundation is different, then
I will-
everything else is like, well,
I'll always listen out of respect, but that doesn't mean I'll actually take it and like
I like
use that.
yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because your principles are your principles.
Yes.
Well, maybe tomorrow we'll do a wedding advice for Ethan segment.
Annie, it's your show, and we will do what you want.
Ethan, it's your marriage and your wife's, future wife's. Just get used to saying that. This is my wife.
This is
I
that
am
is
her
something
husband.
that will take a little getting used to. Fiance was a little bit of an adjustment, so I imagine wife will probably be too.
Okay, tomorrow, get back on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and we will discuss wedding advice. And I'll have to figure out as we go through the show. We'll take people's advice. I'll have to decide whether I'm going to say who it's from, because I might read you advice and say, here's advice from such and such. This is crap advice.
I'm sure some of these comments are
Oh man,
interesting.
I'm looking at one right now.
Which one?
That one.
That is. I think that the worst marriage advice people give is don't go to bed angry. Dude, sometimes you need to sleep. And sometimes the lack of sleep is going to make the argument worse.
I was going to say, sometimes you're going to bed mad, or you're mad because you need to go to bed.
I like this one. Friends don't let good friends get married.
Oh, knock it off, Dan. Give me a break. I'm with Bobo on that. All right. Keep your advice. Save it for another day, which is tomorrow in the 2:00 hour with Ethan.
Okay, perfect.
And we can decide together maybe good advice or bad advice.
That sounds great.
Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. That sounds
Okay.
fun.
I'll get the missus in here and later at another time and play it again.
This could end up getting really interesting.
Yeah, it could. Well, I don't want to mess anything up. Go out there and finish doing what you got to do. I know.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow because he's going to be in as Ryan Wiggins is taking some family time, which is great. We're going to have him back on Thursday, of course. We'll welcome him back then. Great to have Ethan in here in the meantime. The YouTube live chat poll for today is: how would a guilty verdict sway Trump support? Increase support, decrease support, or no effect? Brad, your answer?
I don't think it's going to have any effect. I just don't think it's going to move the needle. I think people are where they are.
I think that here's what the conclusion I've come to over the course of this show. I think it's going to increase support. And the reason why I think it's going to increase support is I think it's going to increase money. I think dollars are going to come in due to a conviction if it happens. I also don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a hung jury. I believe that if he were to be convicted, the money that the campaign will make off of that will in turn come around to garner more support. Rick on Twitter said, no effect, Trump all the way. Ripper said, I said decrease. I think Trump would lose some fence sitters. I think that in and of itself is a good question. Who are the fence sitters? Are there people who are like, I don't know, this guy Trump, tell me about him?
I think there are people out there that are just trying to decide. Like if I had to envision a fence sitter, they really don't like Donald Trump. They don't like the idea of voting for Donald Trump, but they look at the way the economy and everything's gone in the past 4 years and go, maybe I can deal with what I don't like about him to get things back on track, because what's happening in the past 3 years under this administration isn't what I was promised, and in fact, it's way worse.
Andy says, no effect. Hasn't everyone made up their mind on these two? Yeah, kind of with you on that. I feel like, again, who are the fence sitters? I don't know that anyone's really sitting the fence on Biden or Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there might be people who have one eyebrow raised to the situation and they're fence sitting on, do I get involved in this or do I just keep going on and not paying any attention to the circus that is in town? Betsy said no effect. Also, could care less what Robert De Niro has to say or whoever the other person mentioned earlier. Man, homeboy was angry and kind of like rambly. It's not like he went out there and he was all fiery and compelling in the way that he was yelling at people.
But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city. It's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course.
What is even the point that he's making there? He's saying New York City is a wild place. People do crazy things in the street. There are clowns everywhere all the time, but not this clown. And he doesn't want to rule the city. He wants to rule the country. And we're really patient, and we've got a lot of culture here in New York City, but not Trump. It's almost like when he went into it, it's like, this isn't coming out the way I thought it would come out.
I almost think maybe the hecklers rattled him. They got him off his game, and he wanted to yell at the hecklers. And so he's thinking about what they were yelling instead of what he's trying to say or deliver.
I just don't know why you're like, Robert De Niro, that'll do it.
I don't know either.
TJ said, to the poll, no change. I don't support him. I don't support Biden either. I'm politically homeless. You know, TJ, I don't know if TJ, that was an earlier comment in the earlier part of the show, if TJ's still listening, but is TJ gettable? Is there anything Biden could do to get TJ's vote? Is there anything Trump could do to get TJ's vote? Or is it an absolutely never Biden, never Trump? Because it sounds like TJ is a fence sitter potentially in, do I participate or not? Not Biden or Trump. Like, I'm going to participate. I need to figure out who it is. Because I just don't think that, how could you be in the game right now and be waffling between the two of them? That doesn't seem to make any sense. Gary said no effect because I'm pretty sure anyone who actually votes has made up their mind about who to vote for. Non-voter opinion doesn't matter. The thing that I would say to that, Gary, is that we need to go find the non-voters out there who would come support Trump and get them to fill out a ballot, because that's what the Democrats do. And they're very good at it. And watching them so successfully harvest votes from low propensity voters, that's how they win the game. And we need to be in places like Pennsylvania and Arizona and Georgia and Michigan and Wisconsin and Nevada. We need to be North Carolina, although that seems to not really be too much of a swing state at this point. We need to be there getting people to go, is this how you feel like the justice system should treat people? And if they say no, of course he's getting screwed, then you have to get them to show up to vote. And that's where the grassroots comes in. That's where you come in as a listener. The YouTube poll for today, how would a guilty verdict sway Trump's support? With almost 250 votes today, decreased support 7%. People don't think that a guilty verdict's going to hurt Donald Trump too much. 32% of you said no effect. That's what Brad said. And increased support, 61% think it's going to increase support. I don't think we're going to find out because I don't think he's going to be found guilty. My prediction is a hung jury. What's your prediction? You said acquittal last time we did this.
Yeah, I'm staying with that.
Sticking with that? Oh, man. Every rose has its thorns. I'm the thorns. Stick around, Mark Reardon, up next.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877